'cause it's cold out there.
A cultured person is one who knows something about everything and everything about something.
I'm trying to free your mind, Neo. But I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it.
Our Great War is a spiritual war. Our Great Depression is our lives.
Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children.
The question was, what did you want to be?
Are you good?
You're like a big bear, man.
I like it a lot.
What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to
Houston, the Eagle has landed.
Yes, mate, here we go. Welcome. You are now listening to and watching TAJ Talks, the home of capturing conversational tangents that tickle your pickle. Made in the UK, recorded live and unedited, and going out all across these great British Isles. To pebble beaches and across the sandy shores, to leafy green villages and to crowded concrete cities. From down south to up north, from mountain high to valley low, to where east meets west, and out across the whole of these United Kingdoms. As well as the global village that we call Planet Earth. I'm your host, TAJ. Like Taj Mahal, but I say TAJ. Wishing you a Wednesday welcome to your Friday, or Saturday, or Sunday, or whenever you're watching this. Thank you for stopping by and being part of the journey once again. Special hello to all my JRC people. It's good to have you all back again. So now that you're here, I just have one question for you, which is, are you ready for the tangents? Oh man, I love that. I love that phrase. Oh, here we go. Hey, there we go, man. That was my first attempt at a polished introduction. I've always wanted to do something like that. That whole east, west, up, north, down, south. That's the whole thing that I got inspired. That's a coast to coast thing. That's a Jimmy Church thing. So that's my little one. So welcome back. How you been? How is life? Thank you for being here. And you know what? This time round, I have got a little bit better in terms of organizing the planning for this one. So I managed to get a bit more organization. Like I said, I got the intro done, so I've got that kind of working. And so hopefully let's see how this goes, because today is a particularly special one. I mean, they've all been special. First one, second one was the first one with Rav. So thank you, Ravcam, for being here not last week, but it was 2 weeks ago. Like I say, we're doing this fortnightly, so I'm kind of, even when I was editing I go from one podcast interview to another one, and I'm editing in between, so I never really kind of get my mind off that previous interview, and then I move to the next one. And I'm aware my head is probably shining like a bowling ball again. It's hot. Can you tell it's hot just out there? And that's the other thing, when I'm editing, these things take so long. I've said it before. I'm editing and I'm looking out there. Like, I have just been, the weather has been amazing the last couple of days. Well, apart from that it was so sunny, and then it just went really cloudy and rainy and cold all of a sudden. But anyway, like I say, it's just, everything is taking so long to do, this whole editing and all this kind of stuff, and my mind is constantly, I don't know what dates I did it, what date I'm doing the next one, and it's really starting to envelop and take over. TAJ Talks is now really starting to become ingrained into certain fibers within my mind. Certain bits I'm kind of like, what's going on? Why'd I do this? Why is this thing starting to embed itself? But I signed up for this. Man, it's just been learning curves. Amazing learning curves. But I do want to say, before I say anything else, apologies once again. Yeah, I'm getting there. I mean, see, it's getting better, but it was a little bit late coming out, was it? It was a little bit late. It was supposed to be out on Friday the 17th during the interview with, I say interview, it wasn't an interview. The talk with Ravkan was supposed to be out on the 17th of June. I don't know where I want this to be. If it's there, I feel like it's too high. If it's there, I feel like it's too low. Oh, you can hear it's too low. If I do that, it's just... Ugh. Anyway, the one with Rav was supposed to be out, Ravkan was supposed to be out on the 17th of June. And just editing and all the rest of it. And I didn't get a chance to really work on that properly. And you know what? At the same time, I also realized no one was really expecting it. You know, this is really going to take some time for people to be tuning in. So I was like, but I still apologize. Still apologize for those who are watching it. And I thank those who are watching it, you know. Once again, shout out to my housemate. I really, really appreciate the fact that his name's Moy, by the way. Moy was watching this, and I didn't even know that he was. And then he just sent me a message the other day, and he was just like, "Hey man, I got a question about the thing when you did this thing." And I was like, "Man, you were the one who was watching it," because I literally had one view. I didn't set a timer. I can look at the timer over there. Oh yeah. The whole clipping thing is now on a screen over there. So that screen is, I've tried to polish up a bit more, you see? So that screen is my TAJ Talks logo. That screen over there has all my funky levels and stuff. You can't see it anymore. That was just, like I say, it's a work in progress, this whole thing. I don't intend for those levels to be there and just colorful sound wave bars and all the rest of it. But just check my levels over there. How long have I got to go? I think I'm doing good. But yeah, thank you I appreciate that there are people out there, and not many, and I don't expect it to be. Listen, me and Rav spoke about this afterwards, and I was talking to Rav a little bit about how I got a little bit discouraged. You know, I'm putting all this effort, and no one's really watching it. And he's like, "Tad, but you're not promoting it." And I was like, "Yeah, it's true." And you know what? I actually intended to do that. It was by design. I intended not to promote it because I wanted. Number one, I'm a little bit weird about self-promotion, kind of blowing your own trumpet kind of thing. I hate LinkedIn. That's a chat for another time. I'll say that I hate LinkedIn, and of course I hate certain things on other social media thing. But just LinkedIn, you don't need to go to that length to start being like, "Hey, look at what I did, and aren't I great? Oh, and I had this really nice old lady that I helped across the road." What's that got to do with your job? Your job is to sit in that office chair and make PowerPoint slides. That's terrible. That's not every office job. But then people start going on about, "I helped an old lady. I was walking down the road, and so I helped this old lady, and I walked across the road." Okay, great. Stop blowing your own trumpet, man. Jeez. I got to think about that. But I think I got to get used to it, especially when I see how much effort is going into this. And Rav made a comment, he was like, "Man, Taj, you're expecting things to happen with zero. Not zero, he didn't say zero effort, but without putting the effort in there." And for a minute, after I spoke to him, I went, what did he mean? I don't put no clipping. Yeah, good. What did he mean? I think I got the gain levels better this time. What did he mean I'm not putting any effort in? Dude, I'm up till like 9 o'clock in the morning for the last 3. I go to bed at 9, 10 in the morning, and then I got work, and then I'm thinking about things on my break during work, you know, and I realized, that's not that. Of course, Rav is not saying that you're not putting effort into it, but he's saying when it comes to the promotion of this, that's a whole nother ball game, Taj. You're going to have to get ready to start promoting this. You got to put the effort into it. You got to put it out there. And I haven't done that. I can literally name 4 people who know about this. Like I specifically said, podcast starting on this date to 4 people. 2 of them are my housemates. One of them's Rav. And I think there was that guy, Ian. Ian, I don't know if you've been watching this. Are you one of the 20 people? Because on average, each of the videos is getting, even the trailer now, they've got about 20 views each. The latest one has just come out and got around about 6 views already, which I was thinking, oh, I'm getting excited over 6 views. You know, I really am. I'm learning that nothing comes easy, and I tell you, it's a good thing because I am appreciating every single view. I really do. It means so much to me when one person is watching it, taking the time to watch this. You know, Rav, we'll save it for the next talk. But mate, We did a whole interview, and you know what I discovered? Can you guess? Anyway, he watched. So I appreciate it when people watch it. I appreciate when people watch clips and short segments because for some people it's too long. Oh, I should say whilst I'm looking to cameras, everybody say hello to Bob. Bob, welcome to the show again. I had to get rid of the headphones for Bob because he wrecked them. His head's so big that he was stretching them out, and so the headphones are over there now. They're just hanging over there because today's it's not the headphones won't be for him. They're actually going to be in use. What's that? Again with I'm so conscious of my slender, skinny arms. Don't remember the last talk with Rav, but and yet I'm now wearing. But it's so hot. Anyway, I am so glad that people watched it, and as much as me and Rav, I was joking with Rav. We were having a laugh, and I was like, "Mate, dude, you all those nice things you said in private, and then when you came onto the thing, you just went, it's too long. Honestly, it's too long." But the point, the truth of it is this is why I love Rav. This is why I love the relationship I have with Rav and those lads, the guys I've mentioned before. We are open and honest with each other, and we say things, and we don't take it to heart, and we make fun out of even the comments where we criticize each other. But I love the fact that he was he was very honest in the podcast. He decided in the podcast to share something that Taj. This is where we now talk about how we work on it. This is one of the things. It's really long. But then at the same time, he said, like, man, it makes people want to watch it. The way that you do things, it makes people want to watch it. Anyway, I'll say that for next time when I talk to Rav. And I really enjoyed going through the editing and just rewatching that thing with Rav. It was a brilliant. And you know what? I went back and checked out Caravan Crooks and Scooter Sing in the video, and I just something, because when I was in the moment and watching it, I didn't fully appreciate it because I was concentrating on levels. I was doing all that kind of stuff and talking to Rav and all the rest of it. And then I went back as I was doing the editing to just pick up on some of those shots of having an actual Scooter Sing. So I was actually watching the videos, and I really just Rav has what a great guy in terms of a great interview or talk that we had, and just spending the time with him. But man, he has breadth of experience, and this is what I mean. Just I couldn't have asked for a greater friend to be working with on this kind of stuff. As I say, because he's just honest, and he's saying things to get the best. So I just want to say thank you to Rav for being here last week, and thank you to, again, like my point of this thing. I'm really trying to tame the tangents here. My point on this particular point started off when I said thank you to every single person who's watching, and I mean that, every single person who's watching and taking the time to do that, whether it's little moments here and there, or you're sitting there and you're just doing chunks of the 3 hours, an hour at a time or something or whatever. But thank you, and continue to comment, you guys who are watching, because I know that there are some. I don't know about that 20. I don't know who the other, as I say, there's 4 that I know of that I've said. So I don't know who the other ones are. Maybe they're just repeat views. Maybe I've accidentally watched it from another one of my accounts. I don't know. Or just clicked on it, or thumbnail viewing or whatever. Thumbnails. Oh, I did. Yeah. They're getting there. We're getting there. So like I say, listen, the plan has always been for this to be a work in progress. These first 3 were supposed to be, they're not supposed to be, they continue to be a work in progress. Me and Rav never got a chance to send him work in progress clips. The whips kind of thing. And say, here's Rav, check out the lighting on this one, check out the sound on this one. We're just pretending to do it. We never got a chance to do that because I wanted to get it launched. I just went, we've got to get it launched now, man. And so I decided the first 3 are going to be kind of like whips. And really, there's something designed in that as well. First one, you guys get a taste of just being here with me. And you endured it and you got through it. Those of you who watched or are still making your way and be like, man, I don't know why I keep going back to this, but I'm going to go back to it and watch it again. But I don't know why. Hopefully that's the effect, that you do have this weird love-hate relationship. I let the tangents run, and I forgot what I was saying. Forgot what I was saying. I was on a roll. This is not good. Anyway, whips. So the first one was also always supposed to be just me talking to you guys, so you just know who I am. Just introducing the whole concept of TAJ Talks, and it's just TAJ. And what would happen if it was just TAJ Talks? That's what would happen. And then you'd get a lot of craziness. But even when you have a Skype guest, as we saw in the second talk with Rav, and Rav wasn't a guest, so we're still kind of easing everybody in, myself in. You know, most of the whips is about just kind of sound setup and just getting the technicalities sorted out and all that kind of stuff. And that's going to be ongoing. You know, this is not just, oh yeah, 3 whips and that's it. Everything's good to go. When we start the thing properly from the 4th one, it's still going to be work in progress. There's still going to be things that change and all the rest of it. I'm trying to get used to having the screenshot and kind of moving the monitors around. So when I go and check something out on the internet, I can have a screen where me and the guest can look at it, but you guys will see it on InShot. So, you know, all this kind of stuff I'm working on. So that was the thing with Rav, you know, having a Skype person. And again, tangents were still there. So couldn't avoid that, trying to get the planning of the content. And like I said, the whole point is, and why I'm talking about this with you, I could be doing what I would intend to usually do on a normal future episode, which is maybe 20 episodes in, when I've got all this bit done. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I know what I'm doing now. Straight to the news, straight to some kind of talk about music or stuff, like little segments at the beginning. Like, this is the intro segment, and it would be a lot cleaner. But it's not time for that yet, because I'm taking you on the journey with me. So what we're doing is we're going on this together, and I'm explaining to you how it's unfolding, what's going through my mind, the challenges I'm having, the conversations, the feedback, all this kind of stuff. So that's why this segment, I'm spending the time to explain it to you, to let you know what's going on. And just like I say, so you're here along for the journey. So yeah, just to say that this has always been. Now today's one is going to be the 3rd of, like I say, kind of like a preliminary laying the foundations. TAJ Talks. Directed by, technical director, whatever, Rav. So we've got TAJ Talks locked. And today is going to be the one where we're going to get it anointed. We're going to get TAJ Talks christened, so to speak. It's going to be blessed today. Because TAJ Talks is one of my dreams. It's not really kind of been in this format. I never imagined it in this kind of format, but I imagined this format. I imagined this much I imagined doing. And to a certain extent, this. Cameras, whatever. But dreams in my life have come to be because of the support of a very particular person. And you're going to meet her today. I introduced at the end of the show last time. Today, when the talk starts in the next segment, like the talk actually starts, I'm going to have my first guest. I always said Rav wasn't a guest. Rav is just the second leg. I say just the second leg of TAJ Talk. So you see the team behind. It's just me and him, literally. And he's more of an advising kind of guy. A lot of this is just kind of like, you know, he's there to support and encourage me. He's a great encourager and an enabler. But this, at the moment, it's just, this is what's in my head, and it's coming out, and I'm like, this is it. And Rav is like, right, this is what you want to do? This is how you make it happen. But the other person who is like Rav, who I've probably known about the same amount of time that I've known Rav, actually, is Aunty Heather. And Aunty Heather, she's downstairs right now. She's down there. She's down there. And I've told her, look, I got to do something first. She doesn't know what this is, and I am going to reveal to her. I've been talking to her over the last few months, as I've been preparing this, and saying, Aunty Heather, I'm really stressed. I've got this project that I'm working on. I really want you to be part of it when it first begins, but I can't tell you what it is. I want to keep it a surprise. And I have now got to this point where I've been waiting for this day. This is because this, in some ways, is the first guest, but not really, again, a guest. She is in that inner circle, that very tight inner circle of people who are, she's not just a guest. She is part and parcel of my life experience since 2008, 2009 when I met her. So that maybe 2007. So she is very much someone who is, I'm introducing you to as this is the final pillar upon which the tripod upon which TAJ Talks stands. And today is going to be a slightly different one. It's not going to be a Skype. It's going to be an actual in-person guest. She's going to be sitting here over there on the other side. So Bob's going to have to make room. Sorry, Bob. And that's what's happening today. So, going good. I'm doing okay for time. Now, I want to say just one other thing came to my mind as well. I think about some of the other influences that led to this idea in TAJ Talks. The idea was always in my head a long time ago. And in the process of time, certain things started to happen which kind of nudged me further and just kept reminding me, hey, remember that dream you had? Remember that thing that you wanted to do? And I want to do a shout out to Tando. Tando, you know who you are. Hopefully, at some point, you got hold of this, you're listening to this. Actually, Tando and another guy who I'm going to have at some point as one of the guests. But Tando was one of those guys who we actually almost started making a podcast. We kind of did. He kept saying to me, we were studying together. He saw me doing some public speaking thing, came to me, man, that was funny. He was just like, man, how did you make a joke out of the letter Y or something like that? And anyway, he said, you know what? He said, I've been thinking about doing stand-up. And I was like, yeah, I always thought about doing stand-up as well, but I never really got around to it. And he went, yeah, I might start going to places. I might start going testing and just doing some material and just whatever. And he's a funny guy. But then he actually said, why don't we do a podcast? So he started suggesting this whole idea of doing a podcast. Just wondering if my camera is kind of slightly at an angle. Looks like it is. Anyway, sorry if that's a little bit lopsided. That-sided. It looks like it's a little bit that-sided. I'm not dancing. I promise I'm not dancing. Anyway, Tando, tangents. Tando, what was that? It was like a dying goat. Tando suggested that we just start doing some podcasts. So I remember the actual first step into actively making a podcast kind of a reality kind of happened in my time knowing Tando. So at some point it'd be brilliant to have Tando, and that guy knows. I love picking his brain. His particular area is like philosophy. I did the stuff he knows about philosophy, Immanuel Kant and, Descartes and all this kind of stuff. And I think, therefore I am, and all the existential. Anyway, Tando's another potentially, hopefully, future guest. Anyway, but shout out to Tando. And another one of the guys that I mentioned who was also part of that is a guy called Haldor. Haldor is one of the guys who just used to always, a bit like Rav, he just used to kind of just say, you should do something. You should, why don't you start something, And so hopefully Haldor is still relatively close to me. So we can, I'm planning to get Haldor on as well. But there's someone else even prior. Anyway, I'm talking about guests. After this one with Auntie Heather, I will announce towards the end who the next guest is. So when we start the fourth one, that's it. We're on a roll. The tripod pillars are down. The eagle has landed, as the intro says. That's it. It's landed. Okay, 3 shows, 3 talks. Right, eagle's landed. And now we get on with it. And we're going to have a straight in with another guest. So following Rav's advice, just go in with the guest talks. And I'm just going to try and line up loads of guests as much as possible and just keep you away from 3 hours alone with me as much as possible. Trust me. It's painful for me as well. Actually, I love it. Anyway, did you remember last time I mentioned a boo-boo? And I like to say the word boo-boo. Do you know what the boo-boo was? Yeah. Anyone spot it? I said that to everyone and be like, hey, yeah, let me know what. No one's commented. Come on, man. Come on. Even if you are watching and you're only one person, just come and put something below, like, share, subscribe. Yeah, so the boo-boo in one of the first ones was during the ad breaks. When the logo's flashing or the music's playing and all that kind of stuff, it says TAJ Talks, but then in one of those things, I must have got it wrong on the Canva thing, and it just said TAJ Tax. That's it. It wasn't major. Probably wasn't worth me taking up time talking about it. But anyway, I mentioned it before. I must follow through and just say that was the boo-boo. So that was the boo-boo. Now, I want to try and be a bit more conscious, so let's just get... oh, yeah, by the way, how does Jimmy Church do this? How does Jimmy Church do this every day? He does podcasts every day. I don't know how he does this. He does it has guests almost every day. Every now and then he does a sort of solo thing where he speaks to the audience, call-ins and asks me anything through chat and all that kind of stuff. But he pretty much has a guest every day. I don't know how the guy does it. And obviously talking about, when I was talking about the length of time, that this is going to take some time to get off the ground kind of thing, and it's going to grow and develop, and views will get there in the end, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, maybe I was a little bit discouraged because I was like, man, I'm putting all this effort and no one's watching. Well, I'm not promoting it. But at the same time, this is really the long haul. Joe Rogan said that he'd been doing podcasts for 12 years. So, I just started to realize people are producing things, creating things every day, everywhere. And you know what? It's not always recognized. It really isn't. It just isn't. It's just one of those realities. And that's when you have to ask the question, why are you doing it? Are you doing it for other people's praise? Is that what it is? Is it one of those weird self-esteem kind of things where you're like, I'm doing this and maybe you'll like me? Is that, or is it because there's a love and a passion for what you actually do? Do you enjoy the thing that you're doing? And I'm always, as I was talking about my previous relationship, my girlfriend, when we broke up and all this kind of stuff, I started to go, you know what? I need to stop hiding behind certain things. I need to find what my passion is and throw myself into that, whatever the cost and the challenge and the sacrifice. If I love something, I'll keep doing it. And I had a few things this time around where I was like, no one's watching it, all this effort, what's the point? I've done 2, I don't think I'm going to do a third one, forget it. I'll do a third one, it's not going to... I was really getting to that point where I just went, what's the point? No one's watching. And I just went, you know what? Nah, man. This is about doing something to find that passion, overcoming all the self-sabotaging mindset things that come into it. A little bit of opposition, a little bit of a challenge, and you kind of just like flake. You just go, I don't want to do it now. It takes effort. Like Rav was saying, it takes effort, but not just in terms of promoting it and pushing it out there on social media and letting people know about it, which I will do. From the 4th one, I will start telling people now, because the first 3 are out there. There's something on the YouTube channel for people to actually look. So there's no point me telling people about the channel when there's nothing there to look at. I'm planning to do like shorter clips so that, people will go to the channel and that they have not just 3-hour long episodes, but they have like selections of little small clips on various different topics as well. So it's easier. So there's also a practical reason why I haven't told people about it yet. It's just not ready yet. The channel itself is not ready for that kind of thing. But anyway, so that's the thing. And now here, let me say something else. Last time I kept talking about 33 showing up everywhere. Well, it hasn't stopped. But let me tell you something else that's been happening. In tandem with 33s, which just keep carrying on. I keep seeing them everywhere. I am having some funky dreams, man. I'm having some funky dreams. I say funky, it's just very vivid. And there's some meaning behind these dreams. I'm sure there are. There's certain people in the dreams, sometimes family, sometimes people from the past. And I'm just, what is this all about? What am I trying to communicate? What is it? So 33 is following me. I'm having some weird dreams. And I'm thinking, if I ever do like a solo TAJ Talks when I can't get any guests lined up and I'm like, oh, I've got to do a talk. I think I'm going to line up a talk on numerology as one, because the 33 thing came first, and then the second talk, or might mix them both together. Second talk, at some point, I might just do a solo thing on dreams and dreaming and what it's all about, and just kind of do a presentation and talk and chat my thoughts on dreams. 3 hours long, I know it's going to be a long. Anyway, so yeah, right. With not long left to go. Oh man, with 3 minutes to go, is any point doing the news? Let's try. 3 minutes is a long time in Radio Land, even though this is not radio, this is podcast land. YouTube. Okay, so. I can't even find. There's a lot that's been going on with the whole Russia, Ukraine. Moscow, yeah, Russia, Ukraine situation. Things are getting a little bit. They're starting to like this whole thing about Lithuania, and something about train supplies, cutting off the trade supplies, and Moscow's going, you guys are really trying to provoke us now. So why Kaliningrad's Russia's toehold in Europe could be the war's next flashpoint. I mean, the wars. This has turned into the wars. Definite article has turned into the wars. Oh man. And tens of thousands of rally in Tbilisi to demand EU membership. Now that's interesting because this is the whole issue of going back to Georgia, which in the years before there was a whole thing with Georgia. And some of the political wranglings and stuff going on over there, and it was actually a little mini war there as well. But they want to join the EU now. That's not going to be good. That's not going to make Putin happy. So there's a lot going on. Ukraine braces for Russian storm in East run up to the EU. Basically, the Russians they've got a meeting coming up with the EU, and the Russians are just going to. Oh man, that's the music. I think I'm going to have to do music again. I just focused on Russia this time. There was so many more things. There was Elon Musk all over the place. There were some funny articles. Residents threatened to shoot down Amazon delivery drones. I cut my energy bills in half by using my electric car as a giant battery. Sylvester Stallone doesn't want to do Rocky anymore. He's bowing out of it. And some other things. As I say, Elon Musk is in there. Anyway, I am going to go and get ready to get Auntie Heather. She's going to have headphones on. She's going to be blindfolded. So when I bring her up, just be prepared. There's going to be a little bit of a weirdness because I need to get her ready for this, and then I'm going to unveil it. Okay, so you're here. TAJ Talks. Get ready for the talk. Talk number 3. Special guest. The guest. It's the Oracle. It's Auntie Heather. Be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to TAJ Talks. And you will now see sitting across from me, and you can hear the laughter of the lady that I have been mentioning. She's here. She's here. She's laughing. I'm trying to make sure I get her laughter. Oh, I can hear her laughter now in my headphones. There we go. Auntie Heather, would you like to undo your blindfolds? Yeah, it's not tight that much. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Auntie Heather. Yeah. Welcome to the project. Do you want to put your headphones on so you can hear? I don't think she's... Auntie Heather, everybody. Yeah, I told you this was going to be important. This has been 4 months in the planning. We have been looking to get the show started, and today it starts. So I'm talking to you out there, my YouTube people. Hello, YouTube. She's still in shock. I think she's still in shock. You right, Auntie Heather? You know that you're alive. Don't worry, you're not live going out to anyone. You're being recorded. This is... I'm trying to read Auntie Heather's face. I've never... This is real, people. This is real. Oh, man. Welcome to TAJ Talks. Do you like the logo?
Yeah.
It's got a cross.
Mm-hmm.
Your headphones are falling off.
Sorry.
I can take the blindfold from you if you want. Yeah, put them on so you can hear. Can you hear? So what if you pull that slightly towards you, this thing.
This one?
Yeah. Just you grab it by the metal frame. Grab it from this thing here. Grab this metal bit. Yeah, and you can kind of pull it towards you. Yeah, don't worry. It's on.
Yeah.
There you go. You can hear yourself, huh?
Yes.
You can hear yourself. Your voice is being heard. Wow. Would you like some water?
Oh, that's why I asked. I was waiting to make sure I have water.
I don't know. It's a hot day. Sorry that the curtains have to be drawn because of the lighting.
Yeah.
It does something. I try to keep as much as I could open over there. I need to make sure this is recording because there's been a lot of silence. Yeah, we are recording. We are recording. Levels are looking good. No clipping. Yeah. Can you see all these levels, Auntie Heather? Look at all these levels over here. See that? When we speak, if I speak loudly, because I need to make sure it doesn't go too high. I've had to learn how to do all this stuff. Yeah. My friend's been helping me. You'll meet him, Rav.
Okay.
He knows a lot about you as well.
Okay.
At some point. So, I'll let you gather yourself. This is a surprise. You didn't know anything about this. I don't even know if you suspected anything like this. And I took a risk because there was no way to check with you without telling you what it was. If you'd be okay with this being recorded and all the rest of it. And this is planned to go out. So just to tell you, this is what we would call a podcast. Do you know?
What does that mean? What do you mean?
Podcast is when people, they go onto YouTube. I wonder if I can even show you. Maybe I could even show you. Let's do this, Auntie Heather. I'll show you this screen over here. Let me explain what a podcast is. And I'll start the recording. The recording of the screen. So, okay. So now we're recording the screen. So everything that's okay. So, YouTube. I'm going to show you. Do you remember many, many years back, I said that I wanted to have like my own radio show?
Yeah, I remember.
Something.
That came straight to my thoughts.
So I want to show you the guy that I used to watch when I was trying to work out what I should do in life, and I left my job in the city. And remember how I got into trouble with the family because I left my job in the city, and they're like, "Well, what are you doing? You're not doing anything." And I said, "Well, I need time to think about it. I have certain things I want to do, but they're going to take time." It's taken a lot of time to get to this point, but this is one of the guys that I listen to, Auntie Heather. His name's Jimmy Church. He has his own. He's actually had his own radio station. Let me just say something before I start any of this. Okay, no. Let me explain what a podcast is, because that's the first place to start. Yeah. Do you want to bring in that mic just a little bit closer? You can bring that in. Yeah, you can pull it in.
Put it in.
Yeah, so
that's it.
Yeah, we can hear you. You can pull it in as far, and maybe let's just see how that looks. Yeah, that looks good over there. See, that's where it's filming your shot, so we can see your face. Oh, I've got this thing here the whole time. Huh. Yeah, that looks good. So Jimmy Church is one of the guys I used to watch. He has a radio show, but it's like a talk radio show, a bit like Dead DK. So Jimmy Church has this kind of thing where he talks. I'm just going to click whichever one. You can hear that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to skip the ad. And skip trial. So this is what Jimmy Church does. And he has a whole introduction. This is how he starts his show. Okay. Bespoke radio.
Yeah.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish.
Anyway, that's the introduction.
Yeah.
And then,
threat from outside.
when Jimmy... I've got the wrong keyboard. When Jimmy starts talking...
The Game Changer Network.
All right. Let's go. Fade to Black.
So his show is called Fade to Black.
For the masses. Yeah, man. All right. How you doing? Today's Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. This is going to be a show tonight. Karen A. Dahlman is here, man.
So he's got a guest. So he's got a guest, some lady called Karen something.
Yeah.
Okay. which is why you just heard that music that was playing. So I have the similar thing. What you when you were waiting, you were waiting whilst I was doing my first half of the show.
Yeah.
It's a 3-hour show.
To and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer, and UNX Network's Race Hobbs. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing tonight? Right here.
So that's Jimmy Church. And then he has the guest, which appears.
And they gave him a
that.
gravestone. He did not have one. So they actually gave him a Ouija board.
So he talks to people.
Yeah.
And he can go for, sometimes it's like 2 hours, 3 hours. He just, and they just talk and they just capture everything they're talking about. Right. So that's one person.
It was very cool. Okay, so now did the boards change because of the way it took off?
Now I'm going to show you Joe Rogan. Now this guy, Joe Rogan has made podcasts so popular and so huge now. He's one of many people who do podcasts on YouTube and on Apple and all these kind of things. People walk around and they listen to it on their iPhones or whatever. But Joe Rogan, just want to make sure what's going on there. Is that recording? Yeah. Joe Rogan, this is really more, so I've kind of done a mixture of Jimmy Church, who does radio, but now Jimmy Church is moving towards podcast as well, kind of thing, where he gets guests in visual, in the visuals. So this is Joe Rogan, and this is probably just a short clip from Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan,
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Another one of my inspirations.
Hinckley just got out of jail.
He's doing shows.
Hinckley's the GOAT. Well, dude. he's doing shows, but the first venue that had him in Brooklyn, they canceled because they were getting so many death threats.
I had tickets.
Who? Old people? I would see Hinckley. That'd be hilarious.
He's a good musician. His songs are pretty solid.
Wait, really? What?
Yeah, pull him up.
All right, pull him up. He had a lot of time.
Yeah, yeah.
He had a lot of time to work. No, Hinckley's good at singing.
It's solid, yeah. It's like singer-songwriter type stuff.
You're not thinking about Manson?
So now they're looking at the same thing like what we're doing.
Nowhere.
They're looking at their kind of, they're looking at something on the internet.
Yeah.
So I kind of have started my own podcast.
Yes.
Which I've called TAJ Talks. I have a logo for it. I'll show you the logo over here, maybe. I can show you. This is the logo. That went to the wrong one. Oops. I'll show you it here. I've ruined that one. But here it is. So that's my logo. I made that logo.
Yeah.
TAJ Talks. And I'm going to move that back over here so it's on this screen. And that's my logo here. So this is my podcast. And I've got microphones, professional microphones, little music interface system there, lighting as you can see. I reorganized the room into a studio. Yes. That's my sound recording equipment. And so this is, you are my first guest, because I said it, we were talking once and I said, if I ever have my own radio show, you are going to be my very first guest.
I remember you saying that.
You remember me saying that?
I remembered.
So thank you for being here as my first guest. You sound wonderful. You sound amazing. That laugh is a million times better in these headphones, everyone. So I should do now, what I say is, this is I've just done half an hour of an introduction.
Yes.
Welcome everybody, doing a little bit of an update on how the podcast is going. This is the third podcast. There's already 2 that I've done, so I had to keep that all quiet.
Yes.
And now, as I went for a break, we have a break every half an hour. So I'm following this thing over here, which shows me that this is where I'm going to my next break. And then we've got all these empty slots here are going to be filled in with our talking. So we're going to be talking in this one, that 30 minutes. So that'd be 1 hour. 2 hours, and then I have a final half hour where I will just close the show, but you can still sit there as my guest and just watch me talk to the viewers, and we can still talk whilst I'm mainly going to be doing certain things that I've planned for the guests, for the viewers in the last half hour. But we now have 2 hours where we can just talk. And that's what a podcast is. And I can share all the amazing things that we talk about with... This will go out eventually. This is not live. This is live in the sense that I'm not changing anything. As I record it is how it is.
Yeah.
But it's not actually going out anywhere yet.
Yeah, right.
It's being recorded. I need to edit it. I need to do all this kind of work on it. And then I upload it to YouTube in 2 weeks' time from now. You know what? I was looking at the dates and I was thinking, when do I put Auntie Heather? How do I get this? Do you know what the date will be when this comes out? Hopefully, if I get it done on time. The 1st of July. Right at the beginning. First day of the next month. This will be when, and I've always said it. I've been discussing this with a good friend of mine, Rav, and Rav. I said to him, Rav, I've got to do one with myself just to start up the thing. Then I need to do one with you because you've been part of this whole planning thing. You've been helping me, and I've known him for a long time. And he's been saying this, Auntie Heather, for years. He has been supporting me, encouraging me in many different ways. And so I said, Rav, I need to do the next one with you, the second one with you. And then I said, but Rav, you're not a guest. The first guest, I remember I said it to Auntie Heather when she was talking about her Radio ZDK. And we were talking, and I was in my head. I was like, man, that sounds amazing, Auntie Heather. You're on radio. That's brilliant. I wish more people would hear about you. And you know what? It was as a result of that whole ZDK. And I went, yeah, I do wish more people would know about Auntie Heather. Do you know what? I'm going to make a radio station for Auntie Heather. I mean, I'm not going to make it sound as if it was, but that was one of the final motivations. I've always wanted to do a radio station for my own personal reasons as well. But that was one of the things when I heard about the ZDK thing. And I said, no, I'm going to do this. So that people know about Auntie Heather. Okay, I want people to know about Auntie Heather. Okay, how am I going to make people know about Auntie Heather? Wait for someone else to start a podcast and film her and invite her onto their show? I said, no, I'll do it. So, you are my first guest, and you are going to be the start of. That's what I said. This is it. It started now. Do you remember I was talking to you all those months ago, and I was, Auntie Heather, I'm working on something. I don't know, it's not going to work, and I said, but when you are here, that's when I know it started. This has been a vision. So thank you so much for just going along with it, not knowing what it was all about. And now you're here and you're once again helping me to achieve my dream.
Yes. I'm happy for that. I'm happy and give God thanks that your dreams have been coming true. You're back and now that you wanted something for years, so your season has come. Yes, your season has come. So you just keep on persevering. That's the word, persevering, and keep on, growing and see God's goodness and His mercy towards you. You see, so He's leading. It's coming to pass. Yeah, so you have a lot to be rejoicing, give thanks for. I'm happy to be here.
I didn't know how to read your expression.
Think I was going to get up and walk out?
I'll be honest, there was a part of me when I went, uh-oh. This is a side of Auntie Heather I've never seen before. I think I've done something wrong here. That risk. That I took a bad risk. I thought, she might think, I didn't agree to this. I didn't agree to be filmed. But no, I know. I suspected that it was, that you're just overwhelmed with this vision that's come to pass, which we have been speaking about for a long time. I'm just going to adjust that microphone. I'm sorry, just because I'm going to bring it a little bit closer.
Okay.
You sit there.
Yeah.
I think it might be...
Because I'm so tall.
Because it shouldn't really get in your way. There we go. It's picking up you a bit better. That's perfect. If you feel like it's getting too far on your way, just push it back a bit. Just want to make sure you pick up your voice. Look at you. Look at you. I'm going to take a photo of this.
Oh, dear.
Did I even stop?
What's this?
Did I capture that one? Yeah, I got this whole video. I don't know how far. We'll have to check it later. Let me take just a video. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just and there is everybody. There's not many people watching this, to be fair. Auntie Heather, at the stage, it's early stages.
Yes.
So
Just beginning.
it's just the beginning.
Yes.
I have got a lot of things to talk to you about. The help and motivation I need to keep this thing going now. Getting discouraged already, Auntie Heather.
No, don't be. Take it out of your mind. It will come, but don't feed on it. Yeah, don't feed on it. Because it's a beginning, so.
Yeah.
While you stick to it, has to come to pass. Come to the fulfillment of it. It's no time to give up now.
I'm doing selfies in my own podcast. This is crazy. Sorry, I'm just it's like I'm a tourist attraction or something. I'm just like the celebrity's here. Celebrity's here, and I'm filming her. I've already got cameras filming her. Well, I've got 3 cameras already. I mean, this half an hour segment is pretty much gone, so we're coming up to the end of the break. I'm just trying to wonder. Now, yeah, I need to say thank you to you and to Uncle Lee, because this was a journey which I began when I first came to Cornerstone, and both you and Uncle Lee, even before things went a little bit pear-shaped with family relations, which is all good now. Things are okay with the family, everyone. But I remember how much you and Uncle Lee almost became surrogate parents, you know, and helped me to... You caught me, basically. I was falling. I was going through a very tough time where it looked like I was losing everything, including the family. And then God in his wisdom knew to bring you all the way across from... I'll let you share the details of your story. I won't say too much, but he brought you all the way across from the seas and timed it so that you would be just round the corner in that part of London. And there was this lady who used to always come up to me at the end of church and just say what I thought at the time was, yeah, I get that. Why does this lady keep saying it? She just would come up to me and just say, hi, Taj, how are you? And I was like, how was your week? Yeah, good, thank you. Nice to see you. Remember, God loves you. I'm in church. Like, that bit, I get that bit. I did not get it. And Auntie Heather has been someone who's helped me to understand what it means when God said he loves us. Because I've understood God's love through this wonderful lady and through Uncle Lee, the support that you both have given me. So, yeah. And I just want to say, this is I've explained the structure already. Yeah. This is just a conversation now.
Yeah.
So that's it. Now relax. This is just a conversation. Everything is going to go out. I hope you don't mind. You are the one of the guests that I couldn't tell for obvious reasons. Every other future guest, I'll obviously make sure that they know and aware of what they're about to get involved in and that they're happy that everything goes out. So just be aware. Everything that you say will go out. At the moment, the viewing figures are very low. Hardly anyone's watching this. Again, I thank you everyone who is watching this. But just so you know, you don't have to worry about, like, I don't know if the family will be like, why? But you're out on the internet now. You know, people have things, you know, cool. But I understand. But just be aware that everything you say is going out. And at some point in the future, you know, the viewing figures could go up and people might go back to the earlier ones and be like, let me see the early episodes. And it could be that a lot of people are watching you. And this, I hope, is not the last time that you're not just the first time. This has been set up. Like I said, people are going to start hearing your voice now. There is a avenue, a channel, a vehicle for your message, what you do, because you have literally changed my life. And I think that so many more people, if they heard, and the conversations we have, when we talk, we can go on for hours. That's why we've got hours to talk. So let's start off with this then. It's not, we're just talking.
Yeah.
You remember we just had breakfast?
Yes. And
we were certain things you were saying, and I had to stay quiet because I went, if I start talking about this now, then I'm going to save it for the podcast. So let me just Radio ZDK, Auntie Heather. Auntie Heather is on the radio, everyone. She's already on the radio. She's already being broadcast. Which part of the world is it being broadcast?
It's in Caribbean.
You sound amazing, by the way. You are perfect for radio.
Indeed.
That's
Who
you.
am I? I can't even see.
You're in that one. You're in that one.
I have to put on my glasses. I'm too far distance.
You can put your glasses on.
Is it?
That's why I said bring your bag up. Make sure, How far can you see without your glasses? Can you see me clearly?
Yeah, I can see you
okay.
clearly, but that's too far. I can't see anything. I need my glasses to see.
Yeah, I had. Yeah, there you are.
Yes, I'm seeing myself there.
Yeah. It's probably the height is probably I may need to adjust the height at some point or something, but it's getting in. It's getting in most of you above this table anyway. So maybe I've got too much headroom. Maybe I might need to. Anyway, we'll work that out. Maybe in the second break, next segment, I'll change it. Let me just sort this thing out. Privacy, cancel. What's this? Use off. Okay. So, tell us, Auntie Heather. Tell us about what you do in Radio ZDK land.
Well, what I normally do in the mornings, I give a devotion, and then I will pray, just encourage the people who listens on the broadcast. But the broadcast is all over, as far as I know, the world, wherever it's being broadcast. So I'll be on weekends, from Sunday and Saturday mornings. So it's a beautiful challenge that I enjoyed, and I always wanted to do something like that, and then the opportunity came. And it came during COVID.
Okay.
So one morning, I normally listen to a radio station in Montserrat, ZJB radio station. But this particular morning, when I tried, I would just not get the station. I could not understand why I'm not getting the station.
Radio
ZDK.
ZDK. Yeah. I remember you were struggling at first initially.
Yes. I could not get ZJB. And then a voice said ZDK. So I said ZDK because I normally don't listen to ZDK radio station. So I just put it to ZDK. And then when I put the ZDK, there was this voice, and this voice just moved into my spirit. And the voice was the pastor was on at the time.
Auntie Heather, that's a perfect place to leave it.
Okay.
We're going to take up the rest of that story, learning about Red ZDK after the break.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to go away for a 2-minute break, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
Remember what that last bit.
Yes.
She started to hear a voice. Listen to Radio ZDK. We'll be back in 2 minutes after the break. Welcome back. See that I'm enjoying this? Is it clear? Is it clear that I'm enjoying this? Yeah, man. Welcome back to TAJ Talks. You're here with me, Taj. Like Taj Mahal. But I say Taj. You can say Taj. I'll still turn around. I don't like Taj, so Taj. Please. You're here with our very special guest. It's Aunty Heather, everyone. So, gonna just pick up where we left off. So, Aunty Heather, you were mentioning to us about ZDK. You said that you were. It was during COVID. You were sitting there. I got to remember to talk. You were sitting there in during the COVID times.
Yes.
And try and bring that one just a little bit forward. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's perfect. I think that will pick it up. It was during COVID that you found yourself looking for a way to what was it? To just pass the time? Just some way to do church?
Well, not really. I wouldn't say church, but normally just to listen to a station to keep my spirit going.
Okay.
Yes.
You like so you're one of those people that likes listening to these talks.
Yes, I
calling.
like talk shows. Yes, I like calling and talk shows.
Hey, you're a natural then.
Yes, I was just happy to sit and listen, people experiences.
Yeah.
So I enjoy doing that.
And something came to your mind which said
ZDK. So I'm not accustomed to listen to ZDK, so I just fall to the spirit. And so I put my radio there, my phone I was using at the time. And then I heard this voice as this man was speaking, and he was encouraging people about how much God loves us and how much he cares, and we can always remember to trust him, and he's always there. And so he was playing some songs, and the songs just reached to my heart. He was playing the songs, God made something out of me, took nothing and made something out of me. And the eternal God is our refuge, and only need are his everlasting arms. And those songs just move into my heart. I can remember clearly. And I just started to say, well, this is for me. This is for me. And I just put my hands up and I said, Lord, I just thank you. I thank you for this opportunity. And I remember I just break down in tears because he just moved my spirit, And from that, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to listen to this voice every morning. And one morning he came on and he was encouraging us to read the Bible, and he was talking about Habakkuk chapter 3. And so he said, I can do that. By God's help, I can do that. So I just got up out of my bed because, daytime and our time is different. So I got up very early in the morning and I just went and opened my Bible and I read the text that he called out and I gave my thought in it, about Habakkuk. And Habakkuk, he was a prophet, and he lost everything, all his crops. And although he lost his crops, he still trusted God, and he saw the salvation of God, And I heard the pastor saying, oh, there's something in her, And he was saying, she's anointed, And so I just make my commitment. I'm going to do this every morning. Every morning I'm going to do it. So I used to be doing it every morning, but unfortunately I just stopped doing it every morning and then start doing it on just weekends.
Remind me again, where is it that they are broadcasting from?
Antigua.
Antigua, which is
the Caribbean.
That's the Caribbean where
I'm from.
Where you're from.
Yes, where I'm from.
So that's a root, a connection back home.
Yes.
All the way across from over here.
Yes.
What was the scripture of Habakkuk 3, by the way? The one, mark the vision, make it plain?
Was it? I'm not sure, but it was about when he lost his crop.
Okay,
yes, and he lost his crop. He lost everything. But he still trusted God, and he saw the salvation of God. And so it was just basically encouraging us that it doesn't matter what happened, our circumstances in our life, we must still trust God because he's there and he will still provide for us. We just have to have that faith in him. Yes, and it was just beautiful encouragement.
And it was as a result of that morning broadcast that you heard, which made you then say, I'm going to start calling into this show every Saturday.
Yes.
And it was Sunday at that point at
yeah,
the
it
time
was
as well?
Saturday. Because I used to do it every morning.
Yeah.
All through the week, every morning. But what happened, my phone bill became too high.
Remember.
Because what happened, I did not have the package because I use a card. So I thought using the card is fine. I don't have to pay no extra. But then one day I saw my phone bill and I said, but I'm using the card. But the lady said it's because I don't have that package. So she said, what to do it on weekends. So that's why I do Saturday and Sunday mornings. Yeah, that's why I had to stop from doing all through the week.
Right.
Because I didn't have the package.
Okay.
Yes, because even though you pay for the card, you use the card.
Yeah.
They still charge you extra. They charge you extra. Yes. But it's still enjoyable, and people looking forward for the encouragement.
I'm sorry, I'm just having to. I just realised I've got to stop this thing. Stop. Okay. So you had to be careful with the card from that point onwards because you were over the usage and the bill.
Yes.
You got a big bill. I remember you were saying do you know what I found fascinating about that though, Auntie Heather, is how you dealt with it. Because if it was me, if it was the other way around, you've seen me, what I'm like when I get myself into situations. In fact. And I'll say this now, it was just recently Auntie Heather's birthday. So again, happy birthday.
Yes, thank you.
For that day.
Thank you.
And it was just recently, I went to. But I remember your previous, last year's birthday. I remember something happened. And I called Auntie Heather to say happy birthday. But I also got a letter in the door that morning. And it told me that I was going to have to pay a huge amount of money for something that had happened. And I just thought, oh my goodness. The past is repeating again. Nothing is going to... And it was of all days it happened on your birthday. And I remember calling you. And I tried to just keep it away from your knowledge, what I just received, this letter in the post. Because I just thought, let me just call and say happy birthday and just keep it at that. But you sensed it. You knew straight away. You said... What's on your heart?
Yeah.
Something's on your heart. And I said, there's nothing on it. She said, no, there's something. She said, I said, I got this letter. I can't hide anything from you. You knew it. She knew it. I shouldn't. I wouldn't want to. Yeah. I don't want to hide anything from you. I can talk to you about anything. But I remember that day I wanted to keep that away from you because I didn't want to put something down on your birthday. But I remember the way that you helped me through that particular thing. On your birthday as well, you were so encouraging to me and just gave me advice, told me the best way to deal with the situation, all the rest of it. But when you had that thing with the phone bill, it was like one of those occasions when I think about it. Because sometimes, I tell you, when I first met you in church, I thought that's an angel. That's got to be one of those angels in disguise. That's how these angels work. They actually take on a human form. And they live in this world amongst us as if they're like real human beings. But she's an angel. I'm sure. I'll be honest with you. At certain points, there was a couple of people. You have those weird coincidences, especially when I started going to church for the first time, and I was always thinking about these spiritual things. And I just started thinking, at certain points I went, there's too many coincidences. The thing she says, it's like she knows what's going on inside me. How does she know? So I think that's good. No, I don't think this is a normal person. So when you sent me the message this morning, you said about how you feel special. And I said, because you are special. You always have been. Yeah. But I had this picture of you early on. I still do to a certain extent, where I just thought she's impervious to life. There's nothing that phases her. But then over the years, I did see situations that you found yourself in. And I did see that you were struggling with things just like everyone else is. But you deal with it in such a different way. You dealt with that phone bill situation as just one example. It's just one of those things of, that's life. It's just I'll learn for next time.
Yeah.
And simple things like that. And I look at you and I just think, okay, that's how you can approach challenges. All right, I'll just mark it down as a learning experience. So anyway, getting off track. Oh, there's a thing that I do here, Auntie Heather. It's kind of part of my whole introduction thing. I do tangents. You know what tangents are?
Remind me, please.
Tangents So in maths, a tangent is literally so when you got a straight line and then you do a line that goes off the straight line. In mathematics, it would be there's a tangent, and you might have to calculate the length of the tangent and the angle between the tangent and anyway. So they call it a tangent in maths. Something that goes off the straight line. Now in conversations, there's also a phrase which says he's going off on a tangent.
Yeah.
Which means he was talking about one thing.
And then try something else. Went to Timbuktu, told all the folks.
So I'm planning to capture all more conversational tangents that I usually have. And to be fair, we do a lot of tangents when we talk as well. We start going, as it just happens, I start talking to people and we go this way, that way, this way. So I do a lot of tangents. So what I just did there, I just did a tangent because what I was saying was I started talking about the letter that I received on your birthday, and I'm trying to work out what was the original point that we were just talking about. ZDK, and you mentioned that the phone bill came. So how's that going now? How's the whole ZDK experience going?
It's going beautifully. It's really, really doing well. Yes, still people are being encouraged as I encourage myself as well.
Yeah.
So I'm still enjoying it. Look forward every weekend.
And you said you didn't want people to really know your name, or you haven't shared your name.
Yeah.
But they know you as the lady
from the UK. The UK lady.
The UK lady.
Yeah, the UK lady.
And
that's what they know.
And I remember I've heard in the earlier days. I'm lucky if I get up before 11 o'clock these days. But in the earlier days, I remember listening to those. And I heard the people talking and saying, Pastor Watkins, I just want to say that lady who called in before, man, she was brilliant. Bring her back on, Pastor Watkins. She's amazing. Oh, that's the right accent, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, they used to say, and they used to really value the things that you say. And Auntie Heather, when you told me about this, that you were doing it, it was around about the time when things were being sown in my spirit of like doing something.
Yeah.
Because I think I was coming towards the end during COVID, finishing my studies. What do I do next? And then it was like God was kind of giving me a sign, kind of like, Taj, this is something that have you thought about this, Taj? You want voices to be heard. You want Auntie Heather's voice to be heard. You want people to be encouraged like you've been encouraged by her. You want other people to know about her. Maybe now's the time to think about that radio station thing, podcast, whatever. So I've heard them say it. They really value you. They really appreciate the things that you say. So. What are your thoughts about how are you still doing it every Saturday, Sunday? Is it just Saturday now?
No, I do it twice, but depends on while I have a card, I do it Saturday and Sundays. That's my target, Saturday and Sundays, yeah.
How many cards do you go through, by the way? Because
sometimes my card, the card will be finished sometimes, and I would feel as if, oh dear, I'm not complete what I started. So I just use my phone.
You just go onto your basic phone?
Yes, I just use my phone.
Do you have a plan for that?
No, I don't. I don't have any plan. But if the card is finished, like if I'm praying and the card is finished, I said, no, I can't leave this feeling complete. I feel very incomplete. So I just say, well, God will make the way. I'm going to use the phone anyway. So I just use the phone and finish up.
And you've been okay in terms of no high bills anymore?
Yeah, and I don't think it's not all that high.
Okay.
Because I started with the card, but it's just to finish up if I wasn't finished, So, because I just feel, I don't feel right. This has to be done. So I just use the phone and do that. Yeah.
Do you have any? Because I remember when you started doing this radio ZDK, I was actually saying to you, Auntie Heather, "This is great. This is amazing. Great. I'm really glad you're doing this because you're now taking the action. I'm not saying now as in you haven't taken, but on this occasion, with this particular method, you're putting the action in on a certain way to share. Like I'm so glad that so many people are listening to you. And then I suggested something. I was saying, Auntie Heather, you need to write a book. You need to publish a book where you have almost like in the Bible has this little book of Proverbs. the sayings, Auntie Heather's sayings. There's, what's the one in Solomon? The sayings of Solomon, the wisdom of Solomon.
Yeah.
I think you got to make a book, Auntie Heather. At some point, you got to sit down and start working on it. You need to get your project going. I've done my bit.
Yes.
You've got to get your you got to. I think you should write a book and capture all these. The sayings that you say.
Yeah.
You know how many times. Well, I always start. There's so many. I always start off whenever I start. The praises go up.
Blessings come
down.
Yes.
I remember that's the first one.
Yes.
What's the other one? Keep your chin up. You could just have one page in a book which just literally just says, keep your chin up.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's just, if I read that in the morning, I read a book and I was like, I'm struggling, right? I'm discouraged. And I've reached for my Auntie Heather's book of sayings. You can actually call it Auntie Heather's book of sayings. Sounds cool. Auntie Heather's book of wisdom.
Yeah.
And I pick up my little, you know how you get those little biblical stories?
Yes.
Tough prayers for short prayers for tough
times. Yeah.
You could have one of those.
Yeah.
Get it published at Stanborough Press or something. You could do it within the church community. I don't think it would be difficult to do.
Yeah.
And what you got to do is just write it. And even if it was not a process of going through the church, everyone produces. One of my guests, the guys that I'm going to have on this show, Haldor. I was interested to find out that he's published, I think, more than one book.
Yes.
And he just done it himself. And one was like on coding or something like that, and another one. So, what else have we got? Keep your chin up, which is not really an Auntie Heather. That's it. But she says it. When she says it, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Like I've heard. But what's the other one? God's love is like a circle. It goes round and round. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Remember, God loves you. There's so many. Guard your heart.
Yes, you like that one.
I really like that one. That's one of my favorite Auntie Heather sayings. Guard your heart.
Yeah.
People are like fragrances. Sometimes they come and they go, or something like that. Or people are like seasons. Some
for time and some.
Yeah, but you see, you know. I don't know it. You know the phrases because you've lived a life of experience of going through challenges, and so you're even though you don't have any grey hairs.
Yeah.
There's no grey hairs. I can't see the grey hairs, but I know that the wisdom is.
Yeah.
The wisdom is there. You got to share it, Auntie Heather. You got to share it. You got to do the book. So. Any plans? Are there any plans for have you got a project in mind, something that you want to do?
Not at the moment. Sometimes I just make songs, write songs, words that come into my thoughts.
Okay.
Yes, and I write them down and I will put my own music to it. And sometimes I use them in church when I ask to sing. I sing my own things.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
You remember now.
Yeah. So when I'm asked, I always like to use my own thing. It's just other day someone asked me, they just see I sing these songs in church, and I always wonder, where do I get them from? So I'm the one who make them,
So you actually write your own, would you call them hymns, or are they songs?
Just songs, because sometimes thoughts come into my mind, and I just start just singing the words, and I say, this is together, and so I just use it. Like the first one I did, In the Storm.
That's your first song?
Yes, In the Storm.
In the Storm?
In the Storm, yes.
What's the lyrics? Do you remember that? I'm sure you have the lyrics in your head?
Yeah, but I can't do it right now.
No, you don't have to sing it. You don't have to sing it, but...
So, yes, In the Storm.
In the Storm.
When life seems so empty. That's another one with prayer. When life seems so empty, God is always there. In prayer, God is always there. Yeah. So I just do them and I write them down.
You have like a little scrapbook, like a book, like a.
Yeah. Or sometimes I just if the thoughts just come, I just write it on. I just quickly put it on paper, and then I just put it together. Yeah.
It sounds like you have one of those. You have a creative mind. You have an artistic, creative mind. Have you always done things like that? Even when you were younger, were you always kind of being creative some way, writing poems and?
Yes, I used to do that because I used to like poetry, going to school. I didn't just stick to them and so forth. But daytime, then things just come into my thoughts, into my mind, and just write it down on paper. Yeah.
I honestly think whether it's a book of sayings or it could be like an anthology. It could be sayings, songs, just a collection of different things. But you have so much to share. I think you have so much to share. So, but you were saying as well that Pastor Watkins hasn't been in the best health conditions recently as well.
No, he's not so, but he's getting better. Thank God, he's getting better.
Okay, good.
So prayer is very good. He's getting well. We're glad for that. We're so happy for that.
But he hasn't been on the radio since.
Not at the moment. No. But we're going to help you get back there because people are waiting.
Yeah.
He's waiting. He's so uplifting and so strengthened. Just like he carries you spiritually. You just want to just live this godly life. He has this power, this drive. He's lovely. He's just a wonderful person. Yeah.
If you went to Antigua, do you think you would probably, because Antigua's, is it a big island with a big population?
It's just 108 square miles. Yes, 108 square miles. It's big enough, but it's not as big as here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And population-wise,
I'm not too sure right now what the population is
not
right now.
It's not so small though that you would know everyone, kind of thing. It's not.
No.
It's big enough.
It's big enough. Yeah.
So many people there.
Yes, it's big enough. Yeah.
Is he broadcasting from like near where you lived, or?
You know something? I really don't know where he lives.
Okay, you don't even know where the station is based.
I know where the station is based, but I don't know where he's living. I don't know.
The chances are he probably lives somewhere near the station, though, right? Because he would be traveling into work to the station.
Yeah, he could be traveling. Yeah, he would travel. Yes.
Is the station in like a major city?
He's in the city. Yes.
You didn't grow up in the city then?
No, I didn't grow up in the city.
Okay.
Yes.
So wherever.
Yes, but the station is in St. John's.
St. John's.
Yeah, that's the capital, St. John's. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's actually in the capital. Because I wonder if you ever went to Antigua, would you ever go and stop by?
Of course, I'm going to see him.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I'm going to find him. I will find him. I will find him. I will go and see him. Yes, I will go and see him for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's be lovely to see him. Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm looking forward to see him. I will see him.
There could be even more unfolding steps in your journey, You could be going over there, you could be taken down to the radio station sometime,
you never know.
show you something, and then maybe...
Yes, you never know.
They might say, do you know what, there's an empty seat over there. You kind of need someone to... Need someone to do like a devotional section.
Yeah. Yes, never know. I'll surely see him.
I got very excited for you. I want to ask you a question. When you dream, you have dreams. We all have dreams.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with dreaming dreams? You know what I mean by that. Not in the literal, going to bed dreams. I mean, the things that we want to do. Are you comfortable with dreaming dreams? And knowing that they are thoughts in your head, which may or may not happen. But nonetheless, you choose. But yeah, I guess really, this is really what I was going to ask in the next section. Because you have a very positive mindset. At one point, I used to listen to you and think, is that not just being positive and just thinking positive? Is that something that would be... Is it the same as faith? And I think we even had a conversation at one point about what the difference is between being positive and what faith is, and I think we even maybe came to some conclusion where they're kind of the same thing. But I want to come back to that question about dreaming, because there was a point when I said to God, my dreams are too big for you, and I have been let down. And in times it felt like I was let down by him, because I had this dream in my heart, but no way to make it happen. And in fact, the road that he seemed to be taking me on meant that it was almost impossible that these dreams I have in my head would happen. And so I'd be frustrated, thinking, why did you give me these desires? Or why are there these desires and no help from you to make them happen? And so I said to him at one point, I said, I remember I was there in more close. Remember where I was living in the other place, which I got that room. And remember how excited I was about that room. And that was one of those dreams. And it came to reality. And I still doubted God afterwards when I talked about other things. But I said to him one day when I was in that room, I just said, you know what, Lord, forget it. I said, I'm sorry, I do get angry with you. But I also just need to let you know, my dreams are too big for you. And maybe that's me. Maybe I need to learn to be a bit more humble in my dreams. And I always think about the story of Joseph, the dreamer. You know, he actually had that dream. He had a vision. And the family hated him for it because they were looking at him thinking, who do you think you are? And I started to think about that myself, thinking, who do I think I am that I could dream this dream? What are the chances? Why would I? And so I just said, God, one way or another, I'm being disappointed. So I'm just going to let go of my dreams. And I think we're coming up to a break, yeah. So I'm going to hand that back over to you. How do you feel about dreams and dreaming?
Well, when I look at dreams are like something subconscious on the mind. And sometimes we go to bed and we have dreams because of what we're thinking of. And sometimes we dream things that is not really, may not seem happening to you per se, but something might be in the air. Like I had an experience sometime.
Should we save that experience for after the break? Perfect time. Okay, let's pick that up after the break then, Auntie Heather. You're going to share me an experience of a time when you were dreaming about something. Hold that thought. Okay, everybody, ad break music. We're flying through these segments. It means that we're having a good time. I hope you're enjoying this. You're here, TAJ Talks with Auntie Heather. We'll be back in a few short moments. 2 minutes to be precise. So go and grab some tea and biscuits. You want some tea, Auntie Heather?
No, thanks, I'm fine.
I might go and get a coffee. And we'll see you here after the break. Enjoy the music. Hope you're enjoying the show. This is TAJ Talks. See you shortly. Welcome back to TAJ Talks. Here with me, your host, with his cup of coffee now. Uh-oh. Caffeine's in the system. It's only my second. That'll probably be my last. Welcome back to TAJ Talks. We are into hour 2 of the interview with our guest. Talk with our guest. Not really interview. We're here with Aunty Heather. Timed that right with the music. Aunty Heather is here. We were just talking in the last segment about dreaming, and I was asking her what she thinks about dreams, and not the literal dreams that we dream at night, but like when you have a goal and a vision, and some of the times we get discouraged. And Aunty Heather, you were just sharing. You said that you had a certain experience when we come to this topic. So I'll throw it back to you. What were you just mentioning? You said that you had an experience with dreams.
Well, I've experienced a dream, like when we, apart from dreaming, having a dream or vision of one's life. But when I talk about dreams, when you go to bed and you see something in your dream, in your sleep, we call it a dream. Yes. But let me talk about the dream that I always have as a person, thinking of something and want something, wish, hope.
Yeah.
That's the dream we're talking about,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So when I was small, I always dreamed that I would come to England. So I would look at the sky, because I always like to look at the sky. I would look at the sky and wish and hope I would see snow. You know, and I want to see the snow. And what I used to hope for, that one morning I get up in the morning, I look into the yard, and I see all this snow and all the coats and everything I need to keep me warm. You know, not realizing the time was going to come, because my mom was to come to England, and at some point, but she didn't. I don't know if I was born yet at the time, but I always dream, hope that I will come here, because I will hear about it, and I always want to see what this country is like. I would just hear that it was so clean and so forth, and about the castle and so forth. And so I always want to experience it, not realizing I was going to get the opportunity to experience it. But one night I dreamt in my sleep that I saw these angels just flying in the sky, and they were big and powerful angels, and they were just flying, you know. And in the dream, I felt so happy, and I was just smiling. And then I saw in the dream, there was this river, and it was the beautiful green I ever seen. Beautiful. So I got up, and I was smiling and saying, wonder if I'm going to travel somewhere that I never seen before.
So you saw
I said, you know, so, and then when I realized, but I didn't even think about it then, when the opportunity came for me to be here, you know, but then it came back into my mind, and I said, oh, maybe that's what the dream was all about. But I saw that I had this thing in my thoughts, and now it really come to pass, that I'm seeing a country that I've never seen before, you know. So when we have a dream of your life, a hope, a vision, you have to stick to that dream of your life, you know, and work towards the dream with hope and vision. So that's what I came to the conclusion of it, that I'm going somewhere. And the dream came to pass. The dream, actually dreaming, but the vision that I had of coming here did come to pass.
And the meaning behind the dream. Which the meaning was you might be going across the waters to new...
Yes.
Did you say the water was green?
Yeah, the grass.
There
was the river, and the grass was very green.
Hey, the UK is full of green.
Yes. So I said, I must be going somewhere. I must be traveling somewhere that I never see before. And then... So...
What was it that made you dream of England specifically?
I don't know, because because I always had it in my mind that I want to come to England at some point.
Yeah, why?
Yes.
Why that though?
Because I always hear about it, and my aunt was talking about this England, and my uncle came here, you know, and so forth. And my mom said, my grandma said, my mom was to come to England. So I was looking forward of coming to England at some point when I always hear the stories,
Yeah.
Yes, but I wasn't sure I was born at the time. Yes, so then when I came, I was so excited. I'm going to England. I'm going to see this place. And so I'm here. That dream came true. The dream I dreamt, but I put it to the meaning and the hope that I was come here. I eventually came.
When you say that, do you think? Because here's the thing. Dreaming. Okay, hold on. Before we go to that, what are the chances that someone from Antigua does get the chance to come to England? Is it a common thing or not very common?
It's common. If you can afford it, you will come.
Okay.
If you can afford it, you will come, because if you afford anywhere and you want to go any place and you can afford it, you can get there, Yes, but because I saw what I saw, and because it was in my thoughts at all time, that's what I put it to, that I'm going to come to England at some point.
So that was always sitting in your head?
In my mind.
The idea of you living in England wasn't even like a unreachable dream.
Yes, no.
Like an unrealistic dream, like a fantasy.
No.
For you, it was like, wow, this is in my head.
Yeah.
And one day it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Wow.
It's going to happen. It did happen.
See, I think that's the power. That's the power of what we think.
Yes.
And how what we think leads to the reality of what we experience.
Yes.
I've noticed something like that as well in my own. But you know what? Here's the challenge in my thing is, before I even get to making dreams a reality or watching life, God, make those dreams a reality.
Yes.
Sometimes things happen and you didn't even have a
Have
hand in
it. Yeah.
But you just think, man, how did my dream become a reality? Okay, this is clearly one of my dreams, but sometimes and here's the thing, here's the question, one of the questions I have about this whole thing is sometimes, how do you know when on both the dreaming side and the planning of a thought and an idea, and then also on the execution side, when you actually put it into action, how do you know sometimes when this is not, you just go, well, okay, the podcast has happened, but yeah, it happened because I just decided to make it happen. I started to do it. I could look at it that way. I don't. I don't look at it that way. Though sometimes when I get discouraged, I think God's hand's not in this. I don't think God's hand's in it. This was one of my stupid ideas, and it's not really working the way I want it. And it's only been 3 episodes. This is the 3rd episode. It's not even been that long since it started. So it's been a slow process, but I'm already getting those thoughts where I've been kind of seeing the viewing figures are low, and I'm thinking I'm up and up. As I told you, we were at breakfast. I was up until 9 o'clock in the morning sometimes, working on this thing. I was enjoying it, but then I get a bit discouraged when I see no one's really watching it. I won't even tell you some of... I won't even say, but sometimes I think when you expect things from people and you get disappointed when they don't show a certain response or reaction, then you start questioning, why am I doing this? Why did I am I doing it for someone else's praise? Am I doing it for someone else's applause? Did I do it because it's a genuine thing that I want to do? Or is it as simple as just, well, there's some challenges. Okay, but not everyone is going to understand your dream. Not everyone's going to understand your vision. So they might not get as excited as you may feel excited about sharing it, but not everyone is going to. So I come to this point where sometimes I wonder, now away from the podcast, on a wider scale, sometimes I wonder, how do you know when the dream that you've had in your head, whether it's literally a dream overnight, like you actually had a dream of angels, or an idea in your head, man, I have a dream to go to the UK, how can you tell sometimes if this is just a fantasy? Someone may come along and just say, that's a fantasy. You're never gonna go to the UK. Like, you can dream, that's a great idea. It's never gonna happen. And sometimes we say that to ourselves. Yeah, it's a great idea. It's never gonna happen. And we kill off so many dreams that could become real, right? How do you know the difference, though, between when a dream actually is a divine dream, God has implanted that thought, or it's your own dream, which may be coming from maybe more selfish kind of egotistic places? And maybe God is thinking, listen, that's the kind of dream which, in my wisdom, I'm not going to permit you to fulfill that because it's going to lead you down the wrong path. How do you know? How do you know the difference?
Well, first of all, we have to see our thoughts, where our thoughts lie. And we have to recognize that, as you rightly said, that everybody don't see your vision. So if you're doing something, whatever you're doing, if it press into your heart, you know, this is what you need to do because it's pressed within you. And you know that it's coming from God, that God is giving you your vision. So you focus on what is in your thoughts, what you believe that God is telling you. Not everybody, nobody, but what God is telling you. It will press on your heart. And you see signs of it is coming to pass, you know. So if you listen, while you believe this is true, you believe this in your heart, you don't think about anybody else. You just keep on going. As you go along the pathway, it will look very discouraged because it's something new. So it has to go through the challenges. But while you believe this is where God is leading you, nobody thoughts can distract you. You will feel distracted, you feel discouraged, but you have to keep in mind, this is where you believe in your heart that God is leading you to go. And you follow that step. You follow that, not other people. You follow that. And you will be successful in your, you're not good. In other words, you know, give yourself regards of what anybody thinking or anybody is saying, but you know in your heart that God is leading you. Yeah. So
How do you know though that God is leading you in that particular?
Because it rests into your spirit. You don't feel. You only may feel doubtful because somebody put a negative thought in your mind, but you have your own conviction within yourself.
I guess what I'm kind of asking then really is, how do you know when your desire is a good desire? Because you can have something rest in your spirit, and it can feel good, but you know for sure that's not a good thing. But it's something you feel.
Yeah.
How do you know? And sometimes even theologically you go, well, the whole world says that, well, the whole world is doing things a certain way. Why am I telling myself that I shouldn't do this? Maybe I should do that. And then I go, I need to make a choice. Do I follow a certain thing which God hasn't really said no against? But though I see many people in the world, they don't stop to hesitate. They just go and do certain things. And I'm thinking, wait a second, I've got to make a choice now. Is the desire I have for good or for bad? How do you know?
Yeah, but you can have good desires because God put desires in our heart, and I think desires are for us to make choices, as you rightly said. So you can have a good desire, but that desire. Okay, let's get to a practical example. Okay. Let's look at it here.
Okay.
You're married, and you have your wife and your children, and you're working in this firm, okay? And your manager will say, well, I want to send you to Japan. Let's use that, Japan.
Oh, that's another dream of mine. Auntie Heather, you mentioned Japan. That is not a coincidence. You mentioned Japan. I think I'm going to Japan. I think that's coming up. Because when she says stuff, things happen. Do not take lightly the things she's. This is a prophet. Okay. Yes, anyway, good example.
So you're going to Japan,
right?
And you're going to get more money than what you're getting here right now. Your desire is to go to Japan, but now you have to weigh it out. You have your young wife. It's a good desire. You have your young wife, just married. You have a child. It's a good desire because that's your desire at all the time. You want to go there and your working goes there. But your life has changed in another direction. So you have to weigh the balance out. Now you have to think, well, this is a good opportunity, but it's coming at a time when I just married, I have a young wife. We just tighten out life. So you reason it out. But you're not going to give up on the dream. But at this point, I cannot go leave my family. So that have to stay aside until another time. So but you still keep it in your mind. It's not that God is not in it or things like that, but because of the circumstances now, because it's not the circumstances we focus on is what we do with the circumstances in our life when they come.
Whether we allow ourselves to get discouraged,
right. Yes.
Whether we give up
yes.
on dreams,
right.
or whether we choose to accept by faith
yes.
that God will in some
yes.
time,
yes.
appointed time,
yes.
bring it to pass.
Yes. So we have the responsibility.
Okay.
So you look at it and when you just say, well, sir, thank you for the offer, but the right time is not yet. Because you see what I have in here. You say, I can't leave my family now. You know, it's just like for some people, they think that God means forsake your family and give everything away. No, you actually have a family, so you have to be responsible. So the right thing, you still have the desire, but the right thing, and you and your wife discuss it and say, well, when in the next 10 years I'm in the firm, then, because that's the right time, but this is not the right time. Because you go to Japan, you lose your family. You lose your wife. You know, because, so you think wisely.
Right. That's the key, though, isn't it?
Yes, wisely. Yeah.
It takes wisdom.
Wisdom, yes.
To discern.
Right. Yes.
Do you remember that thing that you gave me? Have you seen it downstairs?
Yes.
You saw it?
Yes, yes.
That was amazing.
Yes.
What you wrote. And talking about what you write.
Mm-hmm.
Man, and there's many things. Talking about what you write and the things that you do. This box look familiar to you?
I think so, with that thing inside it.
Her eyes. I've never seen Auntie Heather's eyes like so nervous whenever I'm doing something now, because you think, uh-oh, what next?
We keep that very well. It's
this is precious to me. This is precious to me. Yeah. Like that message. I'll come to this in a moment. It's a box, everyone. They're probably thinking, what is it? It's a box that says Merry Christmas. It wasn't even Christmas time when she gave it to me. But it's the meaning of what's in the box. Amazing what Auntie Heather did. And what you wrote. I was talking about the thing downstairs. Auntie Heather, I just noticed one thing. Bring that mic, because you're kind of sitting a little bit off that way, so you're fine. Yeah, sit. Yeah, that's it. Sit a bit more, because it's the filter is angled that way.
Okay.
But don't worry, because it's picking up when you're sitting directly. I mean, you can sit however you want. Just make sure that the voice, as you move your head away, just make sure it kind of aims in towards that circular thing. Okay. Sit however you want, but just keep the voice kind of channeled towards that thing. Okay. Sounds good, though. That thing you wrote, I wish I had a picture of it. That was one of the things I was supposed to do in preparing for this, to take a picture so I could read it out now. But you wrote something about, you took a quote from Proverbs, wisdom, understanding, and discernment. That was the quote. And then you wrote something of your own words underneath it. And you said, my child, understand the difference between wisdom, discernment, and understanding. Now, what we've just been talking about is one of those things, the importance of having wisdom to discern so that you may understand. That's how I'm just, in my head, I've just realized, oh, those are 3 steps. But you have the wisdom to discern, cut things, the choices we make, cut the thing rightly divide the situation, circumstances, assess the situation, so that you can then understand the big picture of what you are doing, what God is doing, why you're in the situation that you're in. But that, I guess that's the key to what we're saying about if we want to take our dreams on board and make them reality. A bit like Joseph, going back to the story of Joseph. Do you think Joseph had wisdom when he was a young man? that face said it all. If I could capture that face, that was...
Excuse me. Well, I think when you think of Joseph, he was a teenage boy. And I believe that things was going on with him as a teenage boy. Because when you're a teenager, your brain doesn't really develop yet, you know?
Right.
So he had his things going on with him. And so, but God was leading him along the way. But I believe that the experience with Joseph, it was also for Joseph. I don't think many people realize that. It was also for Joseph to build his character.
Right.
As he was developing into a young man.
Right.
So he went to those challenges, you know, but many times people don't focus on that at all. They say, oh, Joseph, a good little boy, and so on and so. But God put him in that position to build his character as well, you know. And when I look at Joseph, I see Jesus in it. I don't know if many people may catch that, but I see Jesus in that, in that situation.
Yeah.
Like Joseph, and Joseph could represent Jesus himself.
Right.
You know, because of how, remember, he was stripped for 20 pieces of silver.
Yes.
And Jesus was stripped for 30 pieces of silver. And we saw how he forgave his brother as how Jesus forgave us, you know. So, yes. So it's everything in life, in our lives, is for us to be responsible and for us to build our character, because God already knows everything about us. Everything, because he created us. No matter what anybody says, right? God is the one who created us, who put us here. He knew everything about England before England came here, because he created the universe. So he knows everything. And that's why we don't really need to worry about our lives. Be concerned, because we're here. But at the same time, we can trust him because he knows everything, everything, right? Because our steps are lined out. So in other words, we must have wisdom and understand, discernment.
Right. That comes back to my question, though. Do you think Joseph had wisdom in his younger years?
Yes.
Do you think any of us are born with wisdom, or is it something that only comes through life experience and growth and learning and failing to a certain extent? We had a conversation the other day about the word failure.
Yeah.
And I was saying, this could be a failure kind of thing. And I embraced that word because you need to fail. And you said, no, don't look at it as a failure. But anyway, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But you see, so what do you think about the whole process of
wisdom? I think we should seek wisdom, because that's what God says. Seek wisdom. Ask for wisdom and understanding. We don't really born with wisdom.
We're not, are we?
Don't born, no.
We're not.
we seek it and we develop it.
Why does it seem that some people, though, just are naturally, even, when I was younger, other kids at school, they just seem to be very, not wise, but they had a self-control sort of thing. They had a spirit about them.
Yeah.
It says that about Daniel.
Yeah.
And about Daniel, he had a good spirit. Joseph, he was put in prison, and the prison guard saw that he had a good spirit. Is there not a certain part of it where God has put a certain spirit upon a person for whatever reason of his choosing?
Yeah.
And he's given that person a certain deportment of character, demeanor, and the person carries himself in a certain way. I look back at how I was as a kid, and I only have to look back even a couple of years, and I still think, man, I'm still the fool who's learning to, hey, there's more wisdom in keeping your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Even a fool, it says that even a fool can be considered wise when he says nothing.
Yeah.
Why is that it comes with learning, experience, and all that, but there's also the side of it where it seems like some people are born. Would you say that you were go ahead.
Okay, I will look at it this way. Now, when God created us, right? He breathed into man, and God put his breath into us. So we were created to have desires, have thoughts, like how God says we should have thoughts, how our lives should be. And the thoughts that God wants us to have is joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, forgiveness, humbleness. And that's how he created us to be originally. But something happened, as the story is being told, and we believe the story. That barrier came in between man and God. Right. So man chose the opposite, right? But whatever, the kindness, the love, the mercy is all in mankind. But because we come out of that presence, why we act the way we act, and some people don't act that sort of way sometimes, and we all mixed up. But the fact is that God gave us this power within us. But the thing what we need to do is to recognize who we are, that we are God's children, and He is our Heavenly Father, and He put all these things inside mankind. And so unless we acknowledge that, unless we acknowledge the truth, who we are and who God is, we won't get the story, but we have to acknowledge that first. Who we are and who God is. So when you look at Joseph now, Joseph acknowledged who he was. That's why he said, I can't do this thing against God. You see,
he acknowledged
yes,
the presence
acknowledged
of God.
You
that
see,
there is an invisible person he's accountable to.
Yes, so he understood that, and it's the same story for us to know who we are, the way we think, because when the way we think, that's how we behave. So if we think that, okay, if like as a child and your mom will say to you, oh, you're so, some negative word. If that doesn't change, you're going to go just like that and believe that's who you are, but that's not who you are. It's because that was placed into your mind, then you start acting that way, and everybody can say, oh, he's just a little like his dad, he's this, he's that, all negative things. So that comes, the child breeds into that now. So somebody has to come now and restore that child, right? So but that's not the way God originally made us. And there's where we see the grace of God comes in, to know the attributes of God, his love, his mercy, his wisdom, his understanding, his forgiveness. And this is how God wants mankind to be. But we must come to the truth to acknowledge who we are in Christ and who the Creator is. So Joseph recognized that. And if we recognize that who we are, we just want to always do things that is pleasing. We wouldn't want to just go and just think if somebody says something mean to us, because I know who I am, I'm going to go to keep my platform a higher platform. I am not going to follow you because you're treating me that way. And that's how the world needs to get to know. Yeah, but we ask for wisdom, because I remember growing up when I.
Hey. She's getting used to the format of the show. The music started playing and she just went, Dad, time for a break. I gotta stop. She's giving me the directions of being.
Oh dear.
I better stop talking because there's an ad break.
Oh,
okay.
Dear. Yes.
We're gonna be going for a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Hold that thought, Auntie Heather. I'm really enjoying this conversation. I almost forgot that this stuff is all here, and we're just having our conversation. I love it. I'm not going to forget this. Need to get around to that. But also, I want to pick up on that last thought that you were just saying. And then let's keep doing this. I got some questions I want to ask you. I didn't ask you at breakfast. I said I'm going to save for the podcast, so I'm going to do that. You are with me and Auntie Heather. TAJ Talks. Be back in 2 minutes. to the third hour. The witching I call it the third hour is the witching hour because it's the third hour. That's the time when things get a little bit spooky. But it won't get spooky today because we're with Auntie Heather. And we're actually going in the opposite direction to spooky. We are going into... What's an alternative for spooky? Spirity? Can't think of a word. I'm just wondering, my levels, why did I not really hear myself? I messed up that bit because I couldn't hear my voice. And I just said to Auntie Heather, I was like, levels are looking good. Oh no, that's Auntie Heather's one. That's mine. I told you everyone, I'm still learning. This is a work in progress. So my whole spooky voice didn't really work out the way I wanted it to work. Witching hour. I hope it worked anyway. Let's see what happens. Anyway, so we are back, Auntie Heather. Okay, now, before we pick up on where we left off, Auntie Heather, I just want to say, for Moy, you were asking the other day, I sent you that thing, but at some point I'm going to do a shout out to all the music that I use in the segments, even though it's copy-free, royalty-free music. So there's no copyright issues. Like, I don't need to announce all the various music bits that I've used, but I want to do it because there's some really great songs that I enjoyed. That's why I put it in here. So I'm going to do a shout. But what Moy was talking about, what's that song that comes, the jazzy one after the first hour? And that one, just for Moy again and for anyone else, that is E's Jammy Jams, Minor Blues for Booker. And I got a whole list of the songs. I actually wrote down all the songs, and I thought, I'm going to read these out at the end of every show. If I read these out at the end of every show, the show will go on for another 4 hours. So I'm not going to do that at the end of every show. But at some point, I might just do it every podcast. I'll just drop another one and be like, oh, that tune at the ad break was X, Y, and Z. So anyway, that's that. Hope you enjoy the music. Okay, now, Auntie Heather, before we carry on, I'm going to say to everyone, welcome back to the last segment with Auntie Heather. We got last half hour, lots to cram in. We really get, and we just realised, hey, the show's nearly over. 3 hours, Rav, come on. We need to do 4 hours. We need to do 5 hours, but anyway, we'll work on that. But I need to get, hopefully things are getting more refined, content-wise, all the rest of it. A bit more organised. Yes, Auntie Heather. Just thinking first before I speak. Doesn't always help. Getting lost in my thoughts. Do you know who... Okay, I have been introducing you to people when I've said Auntie Heather's coming in. She doesn't know that she's coming to do this, but she's coming. She is the Oracle. The Gandalf. The Merlin. What was the other one? There was at least 3. Gandalf, Merlin, Oracle... No, Merlin was always the 4th one. What was the other one? Matrix? Oh, I forgot. There was another one. Anyway, do you know who any of those people are, Auntie Heather? Gandalf?
I don't think so.
No.
I'm here wondering.
The Lord of the Rings. You know Lord of the Rings? The big film that
I
came?
heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen The Lord of the Rings?
No.
Wow. Okay. That's something to... maybe you can watch that at some point, and then we can do a podcast show and talk about your thoughts of the Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Not the whole show, but just anyway. Are you not interested in that fantasy kind of stuff, Lord of the Rings, and it's like the battle between good and evil?
No, I don't.
No. She just did a Rav on me. She just went, I'm getting all excited. She just went, no. Yeah, there's a very wise person in that. Oh yeah, Yoda. That's the other one. So there's Star Wars, which is another famous battle of good and evil. And there's a character called Yoda.
I heard about that.
You heard about Yoda, yeah? You're my Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
You're my Gandalf. You're my Oracle. You're my Merlin.
Mm-hmm.
In all of these films and books and storylines, that character is always the wise guide, counselor to the main protagonist in the film. And that person, especially Yoda. Yoda's brilliant. Like, he taught Luke so much. And Luke was learning from the... You know, in church they called you, what did they call you? My spiritual guardian.
Mm-hmm.
They actually did a ceremony, didn't they? And they said, everyone stand forwards with their spiritual guardians. I remember sitting there in church and I said, oh, that's great, Auntie Heather. Look, everyone's going out with their spiritual guardians. No one told us. I would have loved to have taken you up there. And you just went, come on then, let's go. I went, what? He went, let's go. And I think they actually had planned it with her. I just didn't know about it, so they surprised it on me. And then they've done this whole thing about we are introducing everyone to some of our members and their spiritual guardians. And Auntie Heather was officially, even though I'd recognised it before that, but officially the church had kind of seen how much Auntie Heather had kind of taken me under her wings, and Uncle Lee. I was doing a lot of Bible studies with Uncle Lee. I remember with Uncle Lee, I remember that Bible study that I went to, and I heard a voice just saying to me, just stay quiet, which you can see is a challenge for me.
Yeah.
I find it difficult, but I just remember having to go to Bible studies, not having to, choosing to go to Bible studies, but then having to follow that voice in my head that says, just stay quiet and listen to what he's saying. It doesn't really matter about the theology, whether you agree, but just practice this and learn from him. Anyway, you're here again with the Oracle. I think I'm going to stick with the Oracle as your, not Yoda, he's a little funny green.
Yes, I know Yoda. The big eyes.
And not Gandalf either, because Gandalf is this big wizard beard. He's got a big beard, so not Gandalf. But the Oracle was in a film called The Matrix, and she's a she.
Yeah.
She was a very powerful person for the main character in that film. She would say things almost like she was a prophet.
Yeah.
And the character wouldn't have done certain things unless she had said it. If she hadn't said it, it wouldn't have put something in his mind, and he ends up doing it.
Yeah.
And she's, did you know that the vase was going to drop? They called it a vase. Anyway, tangents. I'm going off on one, and I'm eating into our last half hour. Right. Sorry, Auntie Heather. So, and I also need to just be aware that I'm sitting with a hunchback. I was saying to you at breakfast, wasn't it, Auntie Heather? I need to, when I watch this
sit
back.
Up. Yeah, just sit up.
In the last one with Rav, I was sitting like that a lot. I need to sit up.
Yeah.
Apparently they say you can help yourself do that if you imagine that there's a hook here, almost like you're abseiling, and that a rope is coming up and it's pulling you out that way. That's how you can kind of imagine how you should be standing posture-wise. Anyway. So yeah, and I'm trying to follow my notes, everyone. Trying to be organised as much as possible. I'll get there. So there's the music done. Oracle, Jammy Jams, Hunchback. Okay. Auntie Heather, we were just talking about Joseph. And you were mentioning that God had put something into Joseph. He knew who he was. Well, let me leave it with you. Let's pick up on that last point you were saying, and then I'll go back to some of the points that I have. So, over to you.
Yes, I was saying that Joseph knew who he was. And because he knew who he was, why he was able to reject Pharaoh's wife, and he understood that, And so it's the same way it's for us. We have to understand who we are and who God is, and that is what will really help to build our character. And that's what the world needs to know. So we have to ask God for wisdom, as we're talking about wisdom, understanding. And as I was saying that, I remember growing up, I was about the age of 9. I used to pray a lot. Just a small child, I used to pray a lot because my mother passed away very early. So I took that on board. And I used to ask God for wisdom and understanding. Don't even know what it all means. But I used to do it, and I'm still doing it even today. Asking God any opportunity, any choices I'm going to make. I don't just want to just jump into it.
Right.
But I just want to find the wisdom to handle the situation, how to handle the situation. How must I behave? Is this situation for me? Should I go into this? And things like that. So when we ask God for wisdom, which is choices we're going to make, the right choices. And we will know because we know what it plays into the mind, But if we don't look and recognize who we are, we just don't think and we just go along and do anything, But we must ask God for wisdom and understanding, and He will give it to us. Because who, if you ask for wisdom, is given to you to make the right choices that you have to make. Just like Joseph did. Joseph had used his wisdom that he had. He knew he was, and he wanted to obey God. He didn't want to do anything contrary. So, because he understood that about himself, he was able to stand firm.
Which again goes back to the importance of, as I say, if there are foundational elements that we need to to embrace, things we need to consciously, as you said, ask for, even if we don't understand what it is we're asking for, but we know that it's a good thing to ask for wisdom. Now, without going into the differentiations today, maybe for a future one, about what is understanding, and what is knowledge, and how it different, what is discernment, how it differs, and let me put it this way and say, I learned from you really what wisdom was. I thought wisdom when I was younger, because a little bit like you, I don't know how I came across it, but I think I came across some stories of Solomon, and I used to say I want to be wise, a bit like wise old Gandalf, which is probably why I'm growing this big beard, because I want to look like Gandalf. And I wanted to be wise, but I always, I used to read The Lord of the Rings, the book, and I used to see the things that Gandalf would say in the book, and I would think, where did he get that idea from? What a great thing to have said. And the way that the author wrote what he was clearly creating a wise character. My teacher at school, I talked about him last time, Mr. Quirk, very wise man. And he had, you can see it in his eyes, the man has learnt from experience. And he picks his words carefully, and you think sometimes, how did he had a response in any situation which was full of. So here's the thing. Even though I thought I knew what wisdom was when I was younger, and I associated wisdom with, man, I just need to learn more. I need to learn. The more I learn, the more I know, I'll be wise. Then I learned from you. That's actually not wisdom. That's maybe what we talk about, the different elements. Knowledge. Wisdom, knowledge, discernment, understanding, Knowledge is that bit. That's not the same as wisdom. And I learned from you. This is, now correct me if I'm wrong now, because I've never repeated it to you for a while, since I first kind of heard it, or, you explained it to me. But I remember, you said at one point, wisdom is knowing what to do, what to say, and when to say it, and when not to say it, and when not to do it. So wisdom really is how you act. Was I right?
Yes.
In understanding what you said?
Yes.
Could you share a little bit more in terms of your understanding then, on that basis? What is wisdom for everyone else?
Okay, for me to understand that wisdom, you're able to make the right choice in a situation. Okay, I'm going to give you a practical example. Let's say you have a room, an empty room, and you know your situation.
Okay.
And somebody come and asks you to rent the room to them. You know your situation. What are you going to do? Are you going to go and give them the room when you know your situation? And then when you find you rent the room to them now, you find there's a problem. But you knew before. So you should have thought about it clearly and just simply say, no, I'm very sorry. But the answer is no, I can't. You don't have to go through your details with them, but you know your situation. So if you go and you still say, okay, come and stay in the room. That wasn't wisdom. That was a foolish decision you have made. So if you were wise and you think it through properly, you know the answer is no. And sometimes people can be very foolish in making a decision that they know they will cause them problems. Because they may think they have all this knowledge, as you're rightly saying. They know all this knowledge about it. But in the end of the day, they make a foolish decision. So wisdom is to know to make the right choice that will be pleasing to God and to yourself and to all around you. So when you look back, you can say, well, I have made the right choice. Because look what it brings. It brings a blessing. So we have to be very careful with knowledge and wisdom, because as you rightly said, because you know all these things in this book, I'm wiser than you.
Right. That's what most people think about wisdom.
Yes.
Well, I say most people, but
yes,
a lot
that's
of
what
people do.
People, yes. Or they go to uni and they get their degree, And they think they know it all. They know it all. So they look under the small man and say, oh, you don't know anything. You know, because they go to uni and they sit among the professors.
Right.
But they don't really have any wisdom about life, how to behave in life, how to have the right attitude. You know, they don't know anything about respect. All they're thinking, oh, they know all their scholarship, whatever they may have, you know. But wisdom is able to make a right choice that in the end of the day, you'll be peace within yourself.
So in some ways, wisdom is tied to moral choice.
Yes.
Because I keep hearing you saying it's how to make the right choice.
Yes.
And then that bit, right choice, means that there is a wrong choice. Or if it's not morally wrong, at least it can practically be detrimental to you. You can end up in a situation which is either going to work better for you, and you're able to enjoy life, or you make choices with poor wisdom and you suffer in life.
Yes. So the decision will be the person themselves. You know, it's just like in life, you'll find you have a friend, and that friend for years, okay, both of you grow up and you were very close friends, you do things together, but life changes, and then they went away and they didn't do any good to their lives. So now they hear about you, what you're doing, and they're coming back, they want to come back into your life. What wisdom are you going to use here now? They're out of your life for years. So you have to make sure you use wisdom with this, because what are they coming for? What did they want from you now? Where were they before? So now you have to think, because you kind of think and say, well, oh, we were friends for years. No, they change.
Do you know the thing about that, though, Auntie Heather? In executing wisdom, this is what I meant about like rightly discerning and knowing how to carve up a situation. But to carve up a situation is quite a destructive thing, or quite a almost aggressive choice. And sometimes in wisdom, it does feel like sometimes you have to make hard choices. Like you sometimes have to say, this person, as much as I hold nothing against them, but they are not good for me.
Yeah.
And I got to make a choice to cut them. Because I think I struggle with this. Struggle, or not struggle, but I sometimes wonder, second guess some of the choices I've made in terms of just that, people.
Yeah.
But when I reflect, I've kind of realized that was a hard choice. But the fruits of what have happened since have kind of proven to me that I was able to get back on track once that person had been cut out. I didn't let certain people come back in, or there were certain people that were already in, and I said, you need to be moved out. Not to them, but I would say it to myself. And it was wisdom in how do I communicate that to that person? Do I communicate to that person? Or do you just... Wisdom is something which is... It takes maturity, it takes courage, it takes... Well, like I say, I mean, the time is flying by, Auntie Heather. I love this. I love picking your brains. I learned so much. I had a question for you before, which I was going to say at breakfast. I said, I'll ask you this in the podcast. Let me just quickly ask it for you. We were talking a little bit about, like, God is, you said God brings people into this world, and he puts things in people. When I was asking about sometimes God, some people seem to have like a good spirit upon them. They have some kind of wisdom already, kind of thing. And you said, well, everyone has it. God brings everyone in. Now, I had an observation the other day where I went, now listen, we are told in churches and Christianity and theology about this concept of original sin. That we are born into this world. Everyone is fallen from the moment they are born into this world. Okay. Then I went, wait a second. Adam had a choice. He was born into this world, or so the theory goes, in an unfallen world. Yeah? In an unfallen state. Then he had a choice. Now he has to exercise wisdom in how he's going to choose that, make that choice. Him and his wife. They made a choice. Now for them, okay, maybe they have now fallen from grace. For them. Where did this concept come that now just by automatic design now, everything that comes from Adam and Eve has also now fallen. Wait a second. They are going to make choices. Cain and Abel, the next two. Cain had to make a choice. Now, I started to think about it, and I went, I don't think Cain was born in sin. His parents may have made a mistake, but it doesn't seem fair that God would then go, all right, so now Cain is now the propensity to sin may have been introduced, whereas it wasn't there before. The propensity, now that's a whole theological thing, and I'm using that word propensity because in theology we start talking about the propensity to sin. Doesn't mean you are a sinner. Jesus had the propensity to sin, but he was sinless. Now, even with Jesus, he came into the world fully man. But did he come into the world fallen? The story tells us that he had to come into the world without sin. But why just Jesus? Maybe he was the only one who was able to resist the propensity to sin. Maybe even Cain. He wasn't born in original sin. Maybe he made a choice, and Abel made a certain choice, and he fell from grace just like his dad did. And then the next person comes, and they start to look back in their family tree as the years go on, and they start to see, once one person made a propensity to sin, oh, I have a choice to do that, I could go the other way. And then you get to Lamech, and Lamech is saying, if Cain slew Abel, I will be 7 times more a murderer or whatever. He's now boasting about his sin. But I wonder, here's a question. Basically, my observation and my question for you, my observation is, I'm actually starting to wonder if we are actually born in sin. I know that I have now, in the course of my life, made choices, so I have fallen from grace. Okay, I don't think anyone will go through life without me. Even as my niece, as much as I love her, she's probably going to make a choice at some point, which will mean she falls from grace. But do you think babies come into this world with sinful natures?
That's a question that keeps coming over and over. But let us look at it this way. There's certain things I don't really lament on because sometimes I don't think it's necessary, really. Okay. It does make sense. Yeah. Because you never know. A lot of people come with all sorts of ideas and stuff, but it doesn't make sense, really. Because it's not doing any good. So I look at myself personally. I like to look at myself personally. Now, as you're rightly saying that the story that we believe the story. Some don't, but we believe it. Yeah. So let us look at creation. When God created the world, made everything, then he looked around and he said, well, someone needed to clear this land. So he said he made a man and he made Adam. Then he said, okay, you're here by yourself. We need a companion. So he made Eve. So they were the Adam's family. Okay? We call them the Adam's family.
Adam's family. Maybe that's what the whole... Yeah, Adam's family. Okay.
Yes. And so God gave them a command. First he gave Adam, because he was the first creature. And God gave him the command that go around, enjoy yourself, have a good time, but don't go to this spot. This is a dangerous spot. So in this tree, you have to eat it. Just don't eat it. Just enjoy yourself. And then the wife came. She got the same command. Both of them got the same command. And so they disobeyed. And there's no excuse, they disobeyed. Because they wanted to have their own way. They wanted their own power. And so they disobeyed. And then after disobeyed, what happened? What happened? Everything changed. And so the world is still changing, even today, from back then until now. Because the story is the same story we are living today. So then Cain came. Then he and his brother get into conflict. He did what he did. He killed his brother because the deed already done through the parents. And that is why the Lord said no one is to touch Cain. So he sent him to us somewhere else, as the record says, and we believe it. And God put a mark that no one is to touch him because he is still him and he still create him and he will deal with that situation.
The grace of God,
the
even
grace of God
in murder. Yeah. He's still protected.
He still protect him. And that's the God we serve. That's the love and the mercies of God way back then until today. But today, people come up with all sort of things with religion and still do not know the truth of who we are and who God is. And that is what we have to keep in mind. So as you ask of the baby, all of us were babies, isn't it? All of us are babies.
Some of us are just big
right?
babies. That's
So
all.
that whatever came into down the lineage of us in our DNA, a baby don't know anything about sin. They don't know anything about that. But they have deeds of it.
The history.
Right, the history come right down the lineage. Because if you have a baby and the baby's crying, you look after the baby, you fed him, you do everything, and you put the baby down. Finish playing with him, he's happy, he's joyful. And you put that baby down, what the baby will do? If he wants to back into your arms, what he does? Starts crying. But he only don't start crying if he find you're not picking him up or her up. He has a kind of funny cry. Because he wants you to, he's commanding you, pick me up. So then you pick him up and what? He stops. So the parents are recognizing what the baby is really doing to them. But the baby don't know, but he's just doing what is inside because he cannot talk. So he's getting reaction. So when you put him down, he does it. He will do it again, and you're picking him up, shaking him to put a little life out, instead of you teaching him that it's time to be on your own and so forth.
Wow. And she timed it as well. She carried on and then gently just came to the end of the point. And what a point. Listen, Auntie Heather, I feel like I want to carry on in the next segment. I think we can do that. I think we can just finish off with a few points of discussion, and we're going into the last segment. Usually I would wrap up the last segment with something, but I hope you've been enjoying this. Hope you enjoying the conversation with Auntie Heather. We'll be back after this break. You're here, TAJ Talks with Auntie Heather, the Oracle. The Oracle. Yeah, man. Okay. So, back in 2 minutes. See ya. Welcome back. I forgot about Bob. Auntie Heather's thinking a bodiless head just appeared. Welcome to TAJ Talks, Auntie Heather.
Yes.
How crazy it gets here. This is Bob. Silent Bob. Bodiless, headless Bob. I keep calling him Headless Bob, even though a head is all he has. Yeah. I just thought I'd bring Bob back into it. Bob just disappeared. And, last segment, the music always reminds me, this music always makes me think, yeah, this is when you gotta get a little bit. You gotta get a little bit funny. Yeah. All right, Bob. There you go. Sorry, man. It's not about you today. It's about Auntie Heather. Sorry, man. Back down. That was Bob. He'll be with us again next week. But he's great. He's great. He gives me company when there's no one else here. But today I have been blessed to have Auntie Heather here. How are you finding it so far, Auntie Heather?
Yes, it's lovely. I'm really enjoying this moment. Didn't expect this at all.
What did you
expect? I don't know. I was just wondering, what am I going to expect?
But what,
just
you
wondering.
Must have, yeah.
Yes, I don't even want to say what I was thinking. I just wondered, is he making something?
Making something like a sculpture or something?
Yeah. I was even saying, I wonder if he's doing a portrait of me. But no, it couldn't be a portrait because I heard him saying something about computer, putting things together in computer. So it could not be that.
But you knew it was something to do with you as well.
Something, yes. So I said, maybe he's making a portrait. And I said, no, that's not a portrait. I don't think so. But he's making something. But what is he making? He could be making a car.
Making a car? Well, the motorbike. Yeah, I mean, there's a motorbike. It could have been a car.
Something. I said, whoa, what is this is he doing?
Anything's possible now, Auntie
anything
Heather.
is possible.
Our journey.
Anything is possible.
Our journey. And it is our journey.
Yes.
You've been walking this journey with me, but you've seen me go from things, unfulfilled dreams. Do you remember, we were talking about this the other day, when I came to see you after many years of being away from the church, and then I came and I reached out to someone. I had to reach out to someone. You were the only person I could think of.
Yes.
I think, oh man, Auntie Heather will know. And I couldn't say what. I couldn't say a thing when I came to see you that time.
I remember it.
I was just silent.
Yes.
And we just sat there in your living room, and I just sat there.
Yeah.
Just thinking, I have no idea how to.
I remember it.
Oh, man. It's been... So, the journey. Auntie Heather, let's go back to this. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Everybody. I say, this is a box that says Merry Christmas on it. But inside the box is...
Wow, it's still so beautiful.
Of course. I haven't even touched any of the sweets because I thought, man, this is precious. There must be some meaning. She's put 7 sweets or something like that. And maybe there's a meaning. Auntie Heather, do you want to explain to everyone what this is? There's sweets, there's Werther's Originals. Actually, there's more than 7 sweets. I could have had one. I think I did. I had one, but then I thought, oh, let me just leave the wrapper in there as well. So I had one. Would you like a sweet? I had one. Listen, how many years on and we can reconnect with this moment that you gave this to me.
Yeah.
We reconnect and we bring this back into. Auntie Heather, explain to everyone, what is this that you gave to me? When I was kind of like in the middle of my studies at Newbold, I was having some doubts, hesitations, which to a certain extent, anyway. But yeah, what is this that I'm showing?
Yeah. Yes. It's still so beautiful, because when you're going through your journey, that thought came into my mind. And I just went this gold handkerchief. This is a journey that you can go through, and when you look at it, you must never give up on whatever you're doing. It will take you, and you're going to reach places. You just have to have the confidence in God. You're going to reach places. Don't give up on it. Just keep holding on. Even though you feel like you want to give up, just look at this gold handkerchief to reach to your journey, and you're going to reach there and put God into it. And the thought just came into my mind as we were talking about wisdom. It just came. I said, I just went and picked it up. And I just put it together, and I had the sweets, and I said, okay, gold sweets.
Right, exactly. The golden Werther's Originals. Yeah.
Yes. And then I put it together and said, whenever you look at it, just remember, you will succeed in whatever you do, but you cannot give up. Even though you feel you must not give up. You must hold on.
That's what this has always meant And I remember I came to you and I was talking to you about how I don't think I'm going to follow through with the rest of the studies, Auntie Heather.
Yeah.
And I think it was specifically that. I said, I think I'm going to quit. I'm not going to do this. This is not for me. I'm getting too confused with all the stuff that we're learning now. I'm not thinking the same way that I did. My reasons for studying this have changed. There's no point me doing this. And I remember you just said to me, Taj, this represents your experience from Australia. She said to me, Auntie Heather said, remember how far you went, yeah. And God brought you right back. And there was a reason. And you felt like you gave up on Australia. But God knew what he was doing, and never give up. Never give up. And I remember just taking that. I was in tears when you were just giving this to me. Man. And I just remember saying, okay, I can do this. I was so scared about doing that masters. And you know what? It wasn't even about the studies. I was doing well in the studies. It was fine. It was okay. The big thing I had in my head was I have to do the dissertation, the big write-up at the end.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah. In the reality of it, that really was as much of a challenge as I thought it would be. In fact, I underestimated it. It was a huge challenge. But yeah,
I remember it.
I got there.
Yes.
Everybody, that's Mum and Dad. That was a graduation.
Yes.
And that was the graduation for the first part of the studies. Yes. You're going to be there you'll be joining us.
Yes. Oh dear, we give God thanks and praise
Amen.
for your journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have been on a journey together. God brought you to walk alongside me, help carry me along the way, and just encourage me. So you've just been so amazing, Auntie Heather. Thank you so much.
Give God thanks and praise.
I do.
God is really always there.
He really is, and you help me to see it and be reminded of it. So yeah, I think we were just talking about some of the things. We were talking about theology, all this kind of stuff before. You know, that's making me think, everyone. There's so many things that are coming out through these podcast episodes, these talks. One of the things I want to ask you, one final question, Auntie Heather. This is just a random question. I'm just interested to know your thoughts. I know that you've mentioned something about sometimes you would look out and you'll see the clouds, and you'll see, Taj, I saw there was a shape in the cloud like a dove.
Yeah.
Well, I remember one time I was talking to her. This is how great Auntie Heather can be. You can talk to Auntie Heather about anything. Nothing is off. Honestly, she has such an open mind, willing to consider everything. We started talking about aliens. I mean, Jimmy Church, who I showed you. That's what Jimmy Church does. And I thought, I can talk to Auntie Heather about Jimmy Church stuff, like aliens and stuff. She said, Taj, I think there's some strange shape to the moon. There's some kind of diamond or something there on the moon. I was thinking, is Auntie Heather watching Jimmy Church? Is she watching the same things that I'm watching? She's watching all these weird things on YouTube. But no. So here I have a question for you, Auntie Heather. I keep seeing the number 33. Only in the last couple of weeks, and really pretty much at the same time that this started. Before this kind of started, I didn't see 33. Now every time I reach for my phone, 33. Every time I check the clock at work, anywhere, 33. It's everywhere. Whether it's that laptop, the screens, or whatever, it's just, the numbers are everywhere. 33. And why do I keep seeing, I could have looked at my watch at any time, and it could have been any other number, kept seeing 33. Now, what do you make of that? Do you think that there's any significance to numbers? So if I ever did a talk on one of the talks, I would do theology and talk about certain things. I might do a talk on numerology. Start looking into the weird thing about numerology. What do you think, Auntie Heather? What do you think that means?
Well, I don't know what the 33 means, but I know that I've heard the 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 7 numbers have meaning, and it says 7 is God's number.
7.
7 is God's number. So maybe your 33 could means you're in the 33 seasons of something.
Why
or
33?
Something. Well, you just see what 3 means.
Well, three
the third number, because it's funny because it said if you're married and you're married for 3 years of your marriage, you can go on because the first 3 years is a trialing time of your marriage, and after you pass the first 3 years, you can live together as husband and wife. So maybe 33, what it means for you, this could be something greater. Is going to greater in what you're doing is going to happen.
So you do think there might be some kind of hidden meaning behind it?
Yeah, it's possible.
Do you think God communicates to us in that way? Do you think He
in
does?
Numbers? Probably, maybe He does. We don't know. I don't know. I will not for sure. But
yeah, the phone. I was like, there's no ad break music. This is live, like I say, it's live.
Yeah. Hello.
Just taking the call.
No, you can't get me at WhatsApp. I'm at Bracknell.
She's just taking a call.
But you only talk. You don't do it. Pardon? No, it's not as yet. Okay. All right then. Toodles. Okay then. Thank you. Bye. Yeah.
Okay, that's brilliant. Do you know, I just, talking about weird things like that, I had the thought today, only today, what would happen if I got a phone call during the thing? And I said to myself, I'll take the phone call.
Yeah.
I'll take the phone call. It will be funny. But look at that. We were just talking about like weird things, scene 33, coincidence, signs, all this kind of stuff. And then you get a phone call. And I was literally thinking that this morning, thinking, what would I do? Strange. Someone was asking about me, though.
Yes.
Someone was asking about Taj's graduation.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's Jamie.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was asking if...
But tell us not today.
She was thinking if you were at the graduation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not.
Yeah.
Wow, man. That's...
Yes, but before, I had something to say about what you asked me about children. I don't know if I could say that now.
Yeah, go for it.
Times.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that with babies, and all of us, as I said, all of us are babies, and that is why the Lord says, train up a child in the way that he should go, that when he's old, he never depart. So when we're babies, our parents supposed to teach us about our Creator.
Right.
From the time we were born, they start teaching us so that they can get in touch with it for themselves, because sometimes you may have your children and you don't teach them anything about God. You think that they just happen, they just say, but it doesn't work that way. You have to start introduce it to them. You have to start invest it into them, because that divine spirit is already there, because He created us.
Yeah.
So when it is invested in them now, you train them, you teach them the things of God, who made them, how they get here, and things like that. And you let them know. You will hear a lot of stuff as you grow older, that there's no God and so forth, but you don't take that on. You just trust, you believe, because you breathe, and we don't even know how we breathe. We go to bed, and all our cells work to wake us up, and that's powerful. It is so powerful, So that alone can tell you there's something greater that man cannot do, But because man cannot understand everything, they will just say, "Oh, there's no God," or because they want to have their own way, have their own life, But so you train the children in that direction. But for the time they're born, introduce them to the love of God, and they will grow up, and they will grow up. They will grow as they get older. They will make mistakes, because they themselves have to seek that face for themselves. They have to see God for themselves. Not because a parent may be a Christian doesn't mean your children automatically become Christian. And some people believe that, but it's not. It doesn't work that way. Because if you have your children and you don't teach them to love you, your children don't just automatically love you. You have to teach them, and you may think your child automatically love you. It doesn't work that way. You have to teach them to love you. And you teach them to love you, and they accept it, and it goes on like that. Because sometimes you ask some children, do you love your parents? Some children will think first before they say it, because they may look at love as, oh, mommy gives me everything I want. And they think, oh, because she gives me everything they want. But then ask, do you love your parents? They pause. We just should be able to say, yes. And why? Because she extends, she shows me how much she loves me, she hugs me, she kisses me, she spends time with me, and things like that. So these things are very important. So we have to teach the children the things of God, who they are, who created them here. And when you see the little things that they should not be doing, you have to guide them out of it. You don't leave them and say they will grow up out of it. No, you have to teach them not to. and things like that. So.
Well, I have to say, Auntie Heather, got to cut it short because we're coming up to the ad break, but I'm glad we went into this final bit and we carried on. But I have to say, this, I hope, is just the first one of many conversations that we will have. I hope to have you here again. And I just want to say thank you for being here. And go ahead.
I'm just saying, I was happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. And I thank you for the opportunity for being here. I don't think I will ever forget this.
Well, it's going to be permanently out there. So... No, and I don't think I will. This has been a really important thing. Months in the making.
Yes.
Years in some ways because of, as you're saying, the dreams. So this is a fulfillment.
Yeah.
Glad you're here with me.
We give God the glory.
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
Give God the glory.
God is good. And that's an understatement. So thank you, Auntie Heather, for being my first guest on TAJ Talks.
Yes.
And we are going to go for a break now. We'll be back in 2 minutes to close and wrap up the show. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching.
Okay.
Back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to TAJ Talks. You are here with me. You know what? This is the first time that the setup has been going this way, where I've got the thing over there. I've been for some reason I've been thinking the mic is a little bit off. I think me doing the mic checks, level checks, that way was better. I don't think it's been capturing much of my best of my audio. I need to work this thing out, get another boom thing. Anyway, welcome back, TAJ Talks. That's it, everyone. We come to the end of the show. So just going to wrap up with a final few comments, and thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Hey, I haven't said it for a long time. I always make a joke out of it, but like, share, subscribe. If you're watching this and you enjoyed it, tell other people. Like I say, I'm not really promoting this or making a big issue of it yet, because I just want to find my feet. And as I say, the whole plan right from the beginning was 3 pillars, foundations. Get the show running, do a TAJ Talk, get Rav so that we can have the second leg of TAJ Talks, but then the tripod. We're talking about 3. Remember Auntie Heather, we were saying the 3, the magic number. The third one, first guest, Auntie Heather. And that's it. Dreams become real. It's possible. So, I just want to say, I didn't really cover some of the other news segment. I ran out of time, but massive news that's going on. Huge rail strikes. Like, this is apparently the biggest rail strike that's been going on. I don't know why it's that big, why it's that, but just everything's happening at once. You know what? I was looking at the news segment, and I thought, there's so much negativity in the news. I don't even feel like doing a news segment this time round. There was a few other things about some 80-year-old granny marrying a 21-year-old man. I thought, wow, I could have done that as a news segment. That would have been interesting. But there was just things I just thought. Elon Musk was all over the news. But anyway, sometimes the news segments work, sometimes they don't. Because I talk too much. But anyway, that's it. Now, listen, I might have time to read my... Remember I mentioned to you the Fountainhead? Okay. I tell you, I got to a point. Remember I said, like, now the podcast started, I can start getting into my books and reading again. Let me read you something. I read this bit in... this is the Fountainhead, by the way. Fountainhead by... I never know how to... Ayn Rand? I think it's Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand. Brilliant. I'm really starting... It's been a little bit laborious to get through this. I'm like, what? An architecture? What's this? But Listen to this quote. Just listen to this. It doesn't say much. Only Howard Rourke, architect. But it's like those mottos men carved over the entrance of a castle and died for. It's a challenge in the face of something so vast and so dark that all the pain on earth, and do you know how much suffering there is on earth? All the pain comes from that thing you are going to face. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it should be unleashed against you. I know only that it will be. And I know that if you carry these words through to the end, it will be victory. Howard, not just for you, but for something that should win, that moves the world and never wins acknowledgement. It will vindicate so many who have fallen before you, who have suffered as you will suffer. May God bless you, or whoever it is that is alone to see the best, the highest possible to human hearts. You're on your way into hell, Howard. And I read that when I was at my low point with this whole podcast thing, and I was thinking, okay, there's a challenge here, but there's also a blessing. And you know what? Auntie Heather has given me that extra boost just being here today. It begins. TAJ Talks has now officially started. So, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for making the time. And next time, we'll have another guest. Pastor Pavle. He doesn't know about this yet either. He knows he's coming to visit me, but I'm going to have to give him a bit of a heads up and eventually show him and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. Pastor Pavle, next week. This one will be coming out in 2 weeks' time, so 1st of July. And then, as I say, the show goes on. Auntie Heather, it's time to say to the audience, good afternoon. Oh, in case I don't see you, messed it up. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Good night.
See ya.
See you. Good night. God bless.
Let's go, Auntie Heather.